cocaine at the White House last week.
DNA and fingerprint analysis were inconclusive, the Secret Service says, and there was no surveillance video footage providing any investigative leads. Therefore, the agency is closing the investigation, sparked after...
Yay!
Good afternoon, just barely. Welcome to the Annie Frey Show.
All right, today's YouTube live chat poll is asking, which amendment do you feel is facing the greatest threat? The First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, or another one? Lots of room for comments with this question, so make sure you leave a comment over in the live chat section. I will be reading them all throughout today. Once again, which amendment do you feel is facing the greatest threat? First Amendment, Second Amendment, Fourth, or another one?
And also, because you're here early, you have ample opportunity to Google the amendments. Even if you know the first and second, you might want to brush up on the others.
Like, that's what I'm going to go do after this.
Yeah. I'm going to brush up on the Fourth. I'm not sure that I know that one.
It's an important one.
All right, at 12:25, Hans von Spakovsky is going to... I think I said it right.
Yeah,
yes.
I think you got it.
He's going to join the show at 12:25. He's a senior legal fellow with the Heritage Foundation.
He knows the Constitution.
Yeah, he knows.
Should ask him the poll question.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Really? You think we should?
I don't know. I mean, that's something that a good host might do. So we'll see whether she's a good host or not.
Stay tuned to find that out. Wiggins, what are you talking about at 12:45?
I'm really excited to see now that I have that idea in my head.
Now that idea has been planted for you.
Thank you.
I'm
why you're here.
gonna guess that at 12:45 I'm stepping in and going, man, bravo on that question with Hans.
You did radio things.
You did right, and I'll take credit for it. I won't have any problem doing that.
I think you already have.
I
think you're good on
that. Wiggins America, we are going to do Annie came up with the title. Brad told me that it was Annie, not Brad. The title of the segment is
Was there
The
a fight
Bee.
over credit?
There was, because I thought that he had come up with it. And
what is
he
it?
said, no, it was Annie. It is The Bee or Not the Bee, which I was like, dude, when he said it, I'm like, dude,
But
that's
not
fantastic.
How it goes. You got to say it right.
The Bee or Not the Bee.
Did the guy deliver?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's in his lane, but he definitely leaned into that accent.
Isn't the normal guy on vacation?
No, he's back. That was like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
Nice vacation.
Yeah.
All right, so
the bee or not to be?
Or not the bee at 12:45. 1:05, we hope to connect with our friend Tyrus.
Shut up.
Thank you.
I was just getting ready to put that
Derek.
up.
Yeah.
Relax.
If we could, maybe we spend that whole 12, 13 minutes on just that topic. I'm throwing that out there. If that happens, that would just be great.
No.
All right,
Thanks, Dirk.
1:25. My guy, Missouri Senator Eric Schmitt, on with us at 1:25. At 2:25, looking ahead, Trisha's gonna come in the studio. We'll see what blazer she's wearing today. And
she looks beautiful.
She looks beautiful every day.
Beautiful, just like she looked beautiful yesterday.
Every day.
I told her that today, and I gave her a finger gun.
Okay, careful with that. That'll get you sent to HR. 2:25.
Which is also Trisha.
She's gonna be playing Annie, Are You Okay with us.
Annie, are you okay with Trisha?
And at 2:45, I will give the final results to the YouTube poll, which is asking, which amendment do you feel is facing the greatest threat? First, second, fourth, or another one? So, brew up your answers, drop them in the comments.
To me, it's the repeal of prohibition that is facing the greatest threat.
I was going to say the 19th Amendment.
I'm not going to Google that.
Yeah.
All right.
What? All right. Big show.
.com/RADIO. Mark Cox here. Before you sell your home, you should know what it's worth in today's market. Call my friend Gloria Liu. She'll tell you. With 20 plus years of experience, Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty has been successfully selling homes in your area for more money than the average agent. Gloria has multiple selling options that give you the power of how and when your home is sold. A few of Gloria's options include bringing multiple cash offers from her substantial pool of investors, a zero commission program. And don't forget Gloria's Guaranteed Sale program. Why can Gloria guarantee the sale of your home? Because her database of buyers is huge, and she's so confident she can sell your home, she'll put her own money where her mouth is. Call your local real estate expert today. Call Gloria Lou at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Join Custom Coatings STL on July 22nd for their first annual Custom Car Show fundraising event. 100% of proceeds will go to the Maryville Dance Team, SEGS for Vets, and the St. Louis Sports Outreach Organization. The event will take place on July 22nd at Deschênes High School in St. Charles. There will be food, raffles, awesome cars, and fun for the whole family. Check them out and learn more at their Facebook page, 2023 Custom Coatings STL Car Show, or online at CustomCoatingsSTL.com.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have all the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
This is Andy Berg, board-certified master arborist with Hanson's Tree Service. Maintaining healthy trees in our urban environment is a challenge, and our trees often don't perform how we'd like. Go to hansonstree.com to find out how we can service your trees today.
This hour of the Annie Frey Show is brought to you by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome to the Annie Frey Show. It is Thursday. We're grateful that you are here with us this afternoon. I'm excited about today's show. We're going to have Eric Schmitt on with us at 1:25, and we're going to talk about that case. He was on with Laura Ingraham last night and discussing the Missouri versus Biden and what has helped, along with Elon Musk's charitable purchase of Twitter, how your free speech is being protected or fought for, I should say, on behalf of those lawsuits coming from your Senator Eric Schmitt, then Attorney General for the state of Missouri, Eric Schmitt. I think it's a really important thing for us as people who are communicating with one another or potentially hesitating to communicate with one another because you have felt censored. If you're looking to discuss an issue, we've talked about this here recently on an array of news stories that are incredibly impactful to your life. In a lot of ways, people just kind of stop talking about it because if you espouse some sort of belief on a particular issue, you know that on social media, you're going to get tucked away and put in a closet, never to be taken back out again. They slow you down. They stop you from being able to be seen by people, and you can't have those conversations. We've seen that with what Elon Musk has made available to reporters like Matt Taibbi, among others, and it's had an actual effect. Lots coming into the spotlight that wasn't there before. Listen to this CNN report on the court case.
It essentially is banning key government agencies, including the Department of Health and Human Services, the FBI, the Justice Department, the CDC, and about 12 key administration officials, including the White House press secretary and the U.S. Surgeon General, from communicating with social media companies, which include Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Google, Instagram, over concerns that this judge has about the communications that they've had related to the pandemic. Now, this goes back to a 2022 lawsuit that was filed by two state attorneys generals from Missouri and from Louisiana, who say that the Biden administration overstepped in their communication to these social media companies.
So you'll see that Eric Schmitt, when he was the attorney general, also the other attorney general that combined with him to bring this to the forefront, have seen that your ability to communicate, to speak, even if it's disadvantageous to the people who are in power, of course, that's the biggest place where the First Amendment comes into play. The idea that you have the ability to go out there and speak on a particular issue and be heard on it, that this is something that is worth defending, that this is something that, of course, of all things, the speech that maybe makes you uncomfortable, that maybe is a dissent from those who have the power, that this is something that needs to be legally sussed out, and also that we, as tax-paying voters, need to suss out as well. The First Amendment, and really all of the amendments, it's the Bill of Rights. When you go through the First through the 10th Amendments, it's the Bill of Rights. It's a limitation not on you as an American citizen. It's a limitation on what the American government can do to you, because the whole we the people thing is kind of an important detail in what it means to be an American citizen. The Bill of Rights limits government. It's not limiting you. And when we have been able to dig in and see the communications that exist between government bureaucracies and your ability to communicate on Twitter, to communicate through Meta, which includes Facebook and Instagram, and now I guess Threads included. YouTube, which we're streaming on right now. And we've got a YouTube live chat poll that would just make me extra happy today for you to go vote in today's YouTube live chat poll, which I will tell you what it is in a minute. If you go check it out yourself, you can see it a little bit ahead of time. The idea that the government partners with these town hall places, the public square of places, and limits your ability to discuss things, to even ask questions, that's a huge problem. One of the go-to places for basic education level little productions, essentially, on YouTube, ironically, is a series called Crash Course. And it's created by PBS, and I think they do a fantastic job. You might have your thoughts and opinions on a PBS. I think PBS does a ton of great things and other things that I'm a little like, but I have the right to go through those and make my own assessments of it. But they have a Crash Course. It's a series, and it's about the United States government and how the United States government is supposed to function. And they talk about the amendments, and they talk about court cases that happened in 1800 and whatever that led to where we are now. And it's very fascinating. It's truncated. It's short. It's quick. It's snappy. It's entertaining. But it gets straight to the point of where we are now and why we got there, with very little opinionated commentary. I would say that it's 97% fact, which is fresh in these days. This is something that was put together 8 years ago. But this is this crash course that's explaining the purpose of the First Amendment, which protects your speech, but it also talks about, rights to assemble and the freedom of the press. And you'll hear this as a recurring theme in questions that I ask guests that we have on the show, or frustrations that I have in this climate where, I'm out there supposed to hate my brother or my sister or whomever it might be because we think differently on something. And we now know that maybe some questions that I might have had, or maybe some questions that my brother might have had, or your brother or your sister, your uncle or your niece or your nephew, maybe some questions that haven't really been answered publicly yet, were pushed away, were silenced, because it was disadvantageous to the bureaucracies that were making the powerful decisions in a particular point in time. And then those people who want to raise their hand and say, but I just have an honest question about this. I'd just like to talk about this. Those people are made out to be crazies. Those people are made out to be conspiratorial. Now, I'm a big believer in letting fools speak loudly so that you can know right away, that person's a fool. Thank you for making that explicitly clear on your own behalf. I am grateful for the time that you have spent educating me on how foolish you are, because now I know. And I'm certain there are people who are actively listening today to this show who feel that exact way about me. They think I'm foolish. They think that, I'm some right-wing nutso or whatever. That's fine. You have the right and the ability to make those discernments on your own. But the key here is that when the First Amendment is put into place in the Bill of Rights, numero uno, right at the front, the limitation that the First Amendment puts into place is a limitation on the government to insert itself into your life to limit what you can do or the information, the access that you have, so that you become the educated person because you're the one in charge. The people in this country are in charge. And if the government steps in and tries to infiltrate that sacrosanct, important, number one freedom that you have, things start to fall apart quickly. So I highlight this crash course clip that I'm going to play for you. Like I said, made from PBS 8 years ago. It's 2023, 8 years ago? Obama time? Yeah?
Pretty close.
So this was not something that was put out there right now. This was put out in a time where maybe PBS felt pretty comfortable in the position that they were in. Listen to them talk about the freedom of the press.
This is really, really important because American democracy relies on its citizens having enough information to make good decisions and hold elected officials accountable. We rely on the press to tell us what the government is doing so that we can decide whether or not we want to let them keep doing it. If the government can keep us from getting important or even not so important information by censoring the press or by preventing us from speaking out against what we see as wrong, it will be able to keep doing things that might be bad. And this is the kind of tyranny that the framers of the Bill of Rights were most worried about.
Folks, that's PBS. That's not like The Blaze or Breitbart or even 97.1 putting together some fancy words that are like freedom, eagles, America, red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. That's not what that is. That's PBS talking about the Constitution. The role that the press is supposed to play in this country is a protection of you and those rights that they are ours. Given to us by our Creator, whomever that is to you. They are not provided to you by the government. These rights that are confined in the Bill of Rights are your rights, and the Bill of Rights is there to protect you from the government. It's a pretty big deal, and it's the explanation that we get from a lot of the really smart talking heads, people who are way more intelligent and more financially successful than I'll probably ever be, kind of get that mixed up when we start talking about words like misinformation, disinformation, danger, and the idea that you are out there freely communicating with people with potentially the wrong facts. Something has to be done about that. And then the government steps in and says, oh, we're there. We got this. We're going to put together a freaking czar of disinformation or misinformation, whatever that crazy Mary Poppins lady was. Don't ever play her singing on this show again. I can't handle it. I'll just walk out and quit. The idea that the government is so scared of you having the wrong info when ironically, they've had the wrong info the entire time. I give a lot of leash to how our government, even how Anthony Fauci reacted in the moment when COVID hits and it starts spreading and people are dying in the country. We have nurses who are on the front lines, who are seeing things, who are understanding how this is going. And there is a narrative that gets rapidly formed and put out there for us. And there are tons of Americans who wanted to, salute the flag and say, let's go, let's do this together. Almost a 9/12 moment once again for the country. I wanted to be a part of that too. I was willing to listen to Chris Cuomo. No, not Chris Cuomo. Well, I guess Chris Cuomo and Andrew Cuomo when they would go back and forth in their cutesy little bro love thing on CNN. And then they'd have the governor come on and he'd talk. And, we would listen for like 2 weeks. And then you realized, okay, these sacrifices that I'm making, and don't anybody misunderstand the fact that what I'm doing here with my freedom is I am sacrificing a freedom that I know that I have and I want to preserve because I believe it's for the greater good is different than if I'm stepping up and participating, that's different than being mandated into subscribing to and abiding by whatever the government tells you you have to do. I'm standing over here in my Illinois roots, just waving over to the free people of Missouri. The idea that Americans will come together and do what is right when the time comes, when the call is made. I believe in Americans of every political walk to still be able to do that, but the government saw an opportunity, and you've heard it from them. People on both sides of the aisle, people who understand the power of government, will say never let a good crisis go to waste. And I guess that the pandemic is the second biggest crisis of my 39 years of lifetime in this country, second only to 9/11. And the power grab expanded over time, and the only way they were able to access it is by keeping your mouth shut. Honest questions that honest people wanted to ask turned those people, due to the government's overreach, into non-touchables. People who were cast away, and they divided families over it. They broke relationships that Americans have with other Americans over it, all because what comes out in the strainer of all of this is the retention of power of the people who are in power, the expansion of their authority, their ability to run and rule your life in a country where the number one thing is that you are supposed to be able to question your government because they work for you. I'll play it one more time.
This is really, really important because American democracy relies on its citizens having enough information to make good decisions and hold elected officials accountable. We rely on the press to tell us what the government is doing so that we can decide whether or not we want to let them keep doing it. If the government can keep us from getting important or even not so important information by censoring the press or by preventing us from speaking out against what we see as wrong, it will be able to keep doing things that might be bad. And this is the kind of tyranny that the framers of the Bill of Rights were most worried about.
Yeah, it's tyranny. You're supposed to be able to question what the government is doing, because if you can't question it, if you don't question it, if you're unable to question it, they can keep doing that said bad thing. And they have. And we continue to uncover daily how the government has worked with big tech, how the government and people who are in the government, people who are elected in the government, work with people in the media to make sure that if you have even a question in your mind about what they're doing, how do we make sure that these people get exiled to the fringe? It's when you realize that there are very few people not on the fringe, because the people in the fringe who are generally speaking good, normal people who just have honest questions are looking around going, well, there's a lot more people out here on the fringe than I thought there were. Maybe this isn't the fringe. Maybe this is what is normal. Today's YouTube live chat poll is, which amendment do you feel is facing the greatest threat? The First Amendment that we've talked about here, I know that the Second Amendment is definitely a major concern for many people listening to this show, many people on both sides of the aisle who do have a Second Amendment issue that is a leading voting issue for them. And we have constantly seen the steady drip of gun control measures that are getting implemented on statewide levels in the state of Illinois. We've seen so much of that. But on a federal level as well, efforts that are constantly being made to further the gun control advocacy of the left. And what about that Fourth Amendment? The Fourth Amendment that says that the right of the people to be secure in their persons, house, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized, are your rights of privacy to the government being exposed as being infringed upon from what we're hearing from Christopher Wray on Capitol Hill? What is this Justice Department willing to do and willing to take and willing to look at in an effort to prosecute crimes that fit the bill for a political agenda? Does that really exist? Can't wait to talk to Hans von Spakovsky about it when we return. He's a senior legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation, a DOJ lawyer, and he knows a little bit about the Constitution. Okay, a whole lot about the Constitution. I'm going to ask him that question when we come back. Which amendment do you feel is facing the greatest threat? I have listed the first, the second, and the fourth. I think those are the top ones that I'm looking at. But of course, you might think something differently than those. So the YouTube live chat poll has that first, second, fourth option. And of course, the fourth one being another one. You leave a comment, tell us why you voted the way you did. And we're going to ask Hans von Spakovsky that question in just a minute.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure, it's just not fun, always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call 314-332-2885. 314-332-2885. That's 314-332-2885.
Did you know the IRS is a super creditor? Hi, I'm Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. The IRS is the only creditor that can create a bill for you without your permission, then drop the hammer and aggressively collect it by wiping out your bank account, seizing your assets, and levying your wages. No other creditor can do that, and this can all happen without a court approval. If you owe back taxes, you need to be prepared to face the super creditor. Don't just sit back and take it. Fight back. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, we know how to use the laws to your advantage and go toe-to-toe with the IRS. Our office is located right here in St. Louis. Contact the Lance Drury Law Firm today for a free consultation with me, or visit us at lancedrurylaw.com or call 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120 to get started.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
This is Bruce Adams with All Surface Flooring, here to announce our anniversary sale starting July 17th through July 22nd. That week only, we'll be offering 20% off our entire store, including Mohawk Smart Strand Carpet and the incredible, durable Mohawk Ultrawood. On Saturday, July 22nd, come join us for our parking lot extravaganza. Help us celebrate All Surface Flooring with food, drinks, prizes, and our largest sale in store history. You won't want to miss this one-time only sale.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan, president of McKelvey Homes. Founded in 1898, McKelvey Homes is celebrating 125 years with our inventory home sale. Get $12,500 off of all our market homes. Move in quick, lock in your interest rate, and get all the popular features and colors selected by design professionals. And for every home sold, McKelvey Homes will donate $1,898 to Dravet Syndrome Foundation. Visit McKelveyHomes.com.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Save up to 20% on a new HVAC system when you bundle it with attic insulation. 9 out of 10 homes are under insulated. For a free estimate on attic insulation, visit aircomfortservice.com.
If you're as thankful to your first responders as we are, then nominate a local department and let us feed them a great meal. Compliments of Grill Master Tony Stone. Mark Cox here. Visit 971talk.com/contests. Help us feed our first responders. You can nominate someone today.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
Well, I think the big takeaway from today's hearing is what the FBI is doing with Americans' private data. I mean, there was a question asked of Director Wray by a Democrat, and he said, are you purchasing data from Americans through a broker, private information? Is the FBI buying that? And Director Wray said, I'll have to get back with you and give you an answer. I need to give you a briefing on how that works.
We the people of the United States.
More perfect.
Your form of our perfect union.
Heritage legal expert Hans von Spakovsky.
Hans, welcome back to the show. I have a special YouTube live chat poll today that I put on our daily YouTube poll because I was going to have you on. And the poll question is, which amendment do you feel is facing the greatest threat? And I only get 4 options on YouTube. So I have the first, the second, and the fourth, or another one that people can comment on. I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that question and how maybe the Fourth Amendment is under a little more threat than we might have known based on Director Wray's testimony yesterday.
Well, I'll tell you, I have a tough time picking between those because I think they're all under assault. And Chris Wray's refusal to answer so many questions and the clear answer that the FBI, with no criminal basis whatsoever, is collecting information on Americans, lawful American citizens across the country, is just shocking. Look, combine that with the court order, the injunction that a federal court just issued against the FBI and numerous federal agencies for suppressing their opinions, their postings on social media on everything from COVID to satirical criticisms of Joe Biden. I mean, it is just shocking that we are at the point we are in today in this country.
I think it is. And I think that I don't know if Americans are aware of how aggressively, even in the last few years, especially since COVID, how aggressively and how much liberty that the government and its bureaucracies have taken to try to gain control over what Americans do, how Americans speak, and especially what Americans think. Can you tell us just your highlights, your takeaways of the Christopher Wray testimony yesterday, what you learned or what was affirmed for you that may have you have extra concern today?
Well, I mean, to just give one example, Chris Wray keeps saying, the FBI keeps taking the position that when it comes to, for example, disinformation, which is their term for claims and information they think are wrong, they keep saying that they only are interested in preventing disinformation by foreign actors, right? Foreign governments. Look, I just finished reading the 155-page opinion by that federal judge that I was talking about. And the judge says the evidence showed that the FBI, when they were telling social media companies to censor people's posts, were not distinguishing between postings between American citizens and anybody else. So that is an outright lie by Christopher Wray, the head of the FBI.
What kind of recourse is there if the director of the FBI is willing to lie in that testimony? I mean, maybe there's some level of incompetence or that he wasn't unaware of that specific situation. I'm trying to figure out what benefit of the doubt there is to provide the FBI director in a congressional hearing. But how does he get away with that, or what happens next because of it?
Well, there's only 3 things that can happen. One, he can be fired by the president, which, as you know, this president is not going to do. He could be impeached by the House so they could try to remove him. And if they don't think they have the ability to do that, frankly, they should use their appropriations and budget power to start cutting the money for his office. I mean, cut his salary down to $5 a year or something like that to get the message across to him. Look, another thing, if I could just mention this very quickly, was they started asking him about the fact that armed FBI agents, like a SWAT team, showed up to arrest this anti-abortion activist in Philadelphia, somebody who had no criminal record whatsoever. The case, the Justice Department pursued, was so frivolous that it only took a jury an hour before they dismissed it. They asked the FBI director, don't you think there was something wrong with all these armed agents showing up to basically arrest someone with no criminal record, no violence in his record? And he said, well, I don't question the decisions of my field offices. That's the very job of the FBI. What is he saying? That if an FBI agent misbehaves, breaks the law, why he's not going to do anything about it? That's exactly what he was saying.
If you're saying that Ray said that he didn't question the decisions of his field offices, is that?
Yes.
But didn't he also say in his same testimony that the document or memo or whatever that was written about Catholics and putting individuals' assets or resources in Catholic churches? I mean, I felt like I heard him in that testimony say that he thought that was egregious and that he strongly disagreed with it, and therefore they're having an investigation into that whole process that hasn't culminated yet. So it sounds to me like he does at times, in his words at least, question this. So I guess he picks and chooses.
He picks and chooses. That's exactly right. And you played the clip of what he wouldn't answer, which was a simple question, actually asked by a Democrat. Are you collecting data from commercial data sources on Americans? And he said, well, I'll have to get back to you on that. That's either a yes or no answer.
Yeah. And a non-answer, as I will say to my listeners oftentimes, if I have somebody on and an interview gets contentious or I'm trying to get an answer out of somebody, ask the question 2-3 times. I remind folks, a non-answer is absolutely an answer, and people should be smart enough to hear what he was saying there. What do you think that Americans should know right now about their data, about their phone usage, about their computer usage, their internet usage, based on what we've heard Director Wray not say in this testimony?
I think folks need to understand that every time you use your phone, every time you do an internet search, that data is being collected by all kinds of commercial companies, and apparently the FBI is also now collecting that data on you. So people should realize that, and I would say take steps to do everything from put encryption, use encryption apps on your phone from when you're making phone calls and sending text messages, to use those services when you do internet searches. You should be using those services that mask your address, because otherwise this is going to end up in the hands of, like I said, commercial companies and the government.
We're speaking with Hans von Spakovsky, our friend and constitutional expert, a DOJ lawyer and a senior legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation. When you were watching the aggressive nature of this iteration of our American government go after the liberties that Americans are supposed to enjoy. I was talking in my first segment about how the Bill of Rights is there to limit what the government can do. It doesn't limit what Americans can do. It's a we the people in at least the Bill of Rights, those first 10 that say this is what the government is not permitted to do. Is this happening at a more rapid pace, do you think, right now? The limitation on American liberty based on the current administration, or do we just have more access to information at this point and we're just seeing it more up close and personal?
I think, can I read you a quick line I just wrote in the draft op-ed I'm doing?
Please.
That I'm talking about this injunction against the government. The court's ruling underscores the importance of safeguarding our First Amendment rights to free speech and freedom of expression in a time when advances in technology make it ever easier for the government to engage in suppression of speech.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the technology advances that give governments the ability to engage in tyranny like we've never seen before. Anybody who doubts that, take a look at the Chinese government and the way they are using the internet to not only control information, but to know where their citizens are, what they're looking for, what they're saying, et cetera. And that is something we have got to guard against here.
Hans, last question before we let you go, and a call back to something you said a little bit earlier about what can be done about what we are seeing specifically with Director Wray at the FBI and the hearings, the testimony that we've heard here this week. You said there's, he could be fired by the president, they could impeach him, or he could be defunded. The political call, the political battle over that third option is, oh my goodness, the conservatives want to defund the police. What do you say to that allegation?
Well, what I'm talking about is targeted defunding. You're not going to be defunding the agents on the line, on the ground, who are going after bank robbers and mobsters in different places of the country. But you can defund his specific office, his travel on private jets, all the things that will make it really difficult for him to continue to operate so that you get the message across to him. You better start putting some real reforms in place, and you'd better start answering questions that Congress is asking you.
Hans, we love speaking with you. Thank you so much. And I didn't put on my YouTube live chat poll and all of the above, but that first, second, and fourth, or a different amendment. Is there anyone that you think that is being pursued more greatly than another, or do you think it's an all or nothing moment for America at this point?
I think it's an all or nothing moment for America right now.
All right. Hans, thank you for being with us today. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Senior legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation, former FEC commissioner, and a DOJ lawyer. Hans gets to vote all of the above, but you don't. You have to go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel and tell us which one. And then another one option there. If you think that I didn't highlight the top 3 concerns that maybe Americans have right now, tell us which one that you think it might be, and let us know why. Hannah is highlighting your comments as they come in, and we'll get to some of those here as the show goes on. We've got the Bee or Not the Bee when we return with Ryan Wiggins on Wiggins America, and a really great conversation coming in the 1 o'clock hour with your Senator, Missouri, Eric Schmitt. Stick around. More Annie Frey Show in a minute.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
It's a little complicated, all tied up, no more love, and I'd hate to see you waiting. Had to have.
Well, what's great is that my kids are actually at Fountains Family Dentistry right now. They're probably leaving, maybe in the car. Hi, kids. And if they had a bad experience, I would have heard about it. They had a great experience, and I've already got the report back that says that, they got a couple cavities, but they're in baby teeth. You don't really have to worry about it. And the other thing is they're probably going to need orthodontics at some point, but no need to hurry on those things. That's what's great about going to a dentist you can trust. They're not going to jerk you around and do little unnecessary things just to look out for their own bottom line. This is Dr. Ty Parker, a good friend of mine for a long time. I can vouch that he is an honest guy and that he runs a very good practice. Not only is everybody friendly, but you're going to get good advice. And we're going to go back in 6 months. I'm going to go back probably a year from then because I've had a good report. They're not going to extend what you need. Like, I've gone to a bad chiropractor once that was like, I need to see you next week and the week after that. That's not Dr. Ty Parker. Go to Fountains Family Dentistry. You're going to get the straight truth there. FountainsFamilyDentistry.com.
You wouldn't trust a butcher to babysit your pet pig. You wouldn't trust a lumberjack to repair your antiques. Or a professional wrestler to be your massage therapist. So why would you trust anyone but AMCO to fix your car? For over 50 years, we've been the trusted experts in transmission repair.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
AAMCO.
Ad paid for by Abadian and Totalian. COVID-19 was tough on businesses. If you experienced a negative impact to your business during the pandemic and have at least 5 W-2 employees, then you need to pay attention. There are some new powerful incentives that have been created specifically for businesses impacted by COVID-19. One such program is the Employee Retention Credit. Its tax incentive could bring you some serious cash back to your business. Even if you received a PPP loan in 2020 or 2021, you were still permitted to receive this credit. There are many ways to be eligible, and taking advantage of this tax credit doesn't need to be complicated. We made it easy for you by doing the legwork to maximize the amount of your refund due. Call us today at 800-874-1654 and we'll set your business up to take full advantage of the Employee Retention Tax Credit. That's 800-874-1654. Again, 800-874-1654. We'll get the ball rolling on getting you and your business some much-needed relief, but time is limited to file a claim. So call 800-874-1654.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-777-1979. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-777-1979. 800-777-1979 or biglou.com.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
Over 90,000 satisfied customers since 1929. Frederick Roofing, 314-645-2000.
Hey, Eric Schmitt, Senator Eric Schmitt of Missouri. Maybe you've heard of him. He's going to be on the Annie Frey Show here in about a half an hour. That's at 1:25. Stick around for that interview. Right now, it is 12:47, and this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
Connect with the personalities and give your feedback. 97.1 FM Talk is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For content that's additional to the radio, join us there. This is The Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Frey Show.
She grew up on the side of the road where the church bells ring and strong love grows. She grew up good, she grew up slow, like American honey.
Wiggins!
Oh! Steady as a preacher.
Solid.
The Bee or Not the Bee.
Woo!
Wow, what just happened?
Not what we planned.
Yeah, that's what happens when you pull the wrong slider down.
That's what it sounds like. Well,
Anywho.
People were wondering, what does it sound like when you pull the wrong
What are
slider
we doing
down?
here?
Now you know.
The Bee or Not the Bee.
It's very regal.
Yeah.
That was.
How did you ask Big Voice Guy? Can you take that music? Good grief. How did you ask the Big Voice Guy when you said, we need you to say the bee or not the bee to get it to sound?
I said two things. Give me two takes. Give me one that's dramatic. Give me one that's Shakespearean. Pretty much the same thing.
I was just going to say, that's the same.
But I thought, it'll give me a little bit of variety, and that's what we got.
Was there a difference between the two?
Not much. No. But I thought if there could be, with interpretation,
yeah,
maybe there would be.
Was that dramatic or Shakespearean?
I'm going to say that was dramatic Shakespearean. I say there was a hybrid between the two, which is why I chose it.
Always shocking to me when I ask you a question and you just refuse to answer it.
Well, I did answer it. Just gave you the answer you didn't want, but the people wanted it. What I have here is a series of news stories, some of them not real. Some of them are from the Babylon Bee, which is why it's the Bee or Not the Bee. Some of them are real stories. Now, these are real headlines regardless, so I'm going to read the headline, and then you guys can tell me whether you think it's a real story or not. And I'll read some of the story.
Wait, I thought you were saying whether it's Babylon Bee or not.
Yeah, but they're real headlines from the Babylon Bee. I'm just saying I'm taking them as they are, or they're real news stories. Okay.
No, Ryan, you're
Convoluting it?
Yes, Hannah. Okay. He has headlines. They're either real headlines or they're from the
Bee.
Or they're real headlines.
That's correct.
Okay.
What I'm saying is they're unaltered.
Okay, got it.
That's what I was trying to get at. Here's the first one. Humanoid robots say they will not replace jobs or stage rebellion.
That's true. That's real.
That is the B.
Real.
It says, in response to a question about staging a coup, Amica, a humanoid robot, denied any inclination to rebel, saying, quote, I'm not sure why you would think that. My creator has been nothing but kind to me, and I am very happy with my current situation. Still real?
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. This is real. This is all real. Yeah. It's a little concerning when they say my creator's been nothing but kind to me and I'm happy with my current situation.
The scary part about this story is not that they said that. The scary part is if they said, no, we'd absolutely overtake you, they just wouldn't tell us.
Yeah, that's true.
Smart.
They are getting very smart and they learn faster than we do. All right, number 2, Hollywood confused by new movie that depicts child sex trafficking as bad.
Real.
I mean, that could be a real one and a fake.
I'm saying real.
Okay, the story goes like this. According to sources among the nation's entertainment elite, Hollywood insiders had been excited to learn that there was a film coming out about sex trafficking, but were then disappointed when they found out that it's depicted as a negative thing in the film. Critics have been giving the film poor reviews, citing the filmmaker's baffling decision.
I'm going all in and saying this is the B.
This is the Babylon
B.
Yeah. Baffling decision to take a stance against the practice, with the New York Times slamming the movie for, quote, not having enough kink.
Gross.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's Babylon.
That is the Babylon Bee, indeed. Yeah, there's some great quotes in this article, though. It's just confusing, said one director. You go through all this trouble and make a film about sex trafficking, and then you end up making the traffickers out to be the bad guys? Such a missed opportunity. Yeah, I know. All right, number 3. Police investigating corpse that washed up on Delaware beach.
Fake.
Oh, man. Joe Biden was just at Delaware Beach. I'm going to call it the B article.
Danny?
I'll go with B.
Parents attempted to cover the eyes of young children and lead them away from the gruesome sight. Quote, someone said a doctor was seen near the body, but that turned out to be an old lady named Jill, who is apparently only a pretend doctor. Quote, anyone with information about this incident or why the Secret Service was guarding this corpse, please contact us.
Oh, poor Joe. Grandpa Joe.
Yep, you're right, by the way. That was the Babylon Bee, not a real article.
I could tell when it took the turn.
Takes a hard turn. That's a good headline, though, because without the picture, you don't really know, because it's got a picture of him sunbathing there underneath the headline.
Ew.
All right.
Hannah.
You gonna be okay?
There are 80-year-old men listening right now.
They're not Joe Biden. And if he is, stick around.
Hi, Joe.
If they're on the beach right now listening with a little portable radio, they probably just covered themselves up with a towel out of shame.
Pontoon Beach, listening to the Randy Fry show.
Pontoon
Sunning
Beach.
themselves.
Yep. Got to get a little sun.
Stop by STS Armory while you're there.
California bans Spanish over nouns only having 2 gender options.
Ooh, that's possible. They want Latinx. Man, Latino people hate that so much. They get so mad about that. It's like one of those other white woman crusades. Latinx.
Yeah.
I'll say it's real. I believe it's possible. That's what I'm going to say. I believe it's in the realm of possibility. I'm going to vote real.
Fake.
I'm going to say it's the B.
The state of California has officially outlawed speaking Spanish over the language bigoted use of exclusively masculine or feminine nouns. Quote, the entire Spanish language is literally transphobic hate speech. unquote.
I'm still not sure.
Said Governor Gavin Newsom. Quote, hate has no home here. According to sources, Governor Newsom discovered, it is. It's the B. According to sources.
Are all these the B?
No, they're not.
Yeah,
that first one was real, remember?
Yeah.
Governor Newsom discovered the Spanish language's use of gendered terminology when attempting to learn how to accuse his housekeeper of stealing his AirPods.
Hate has no home here.
Hate has no home here. All right.
Oh, man.
Got, I think, just two more here. Rudy Giuliani says he should be hired to find culprit in White House cocaine case.
I believe that one also.
I think that's real.
This is how good the B is.
I'll just keep up with them.
One of them has to be real.
You saying it's the B?
Mm-hmm.
Quote, why don't they appoint me and give me a couple of ... lie detector analysts and a couple of forensic experts, and I'll catch them, Giuliani said Thursday on Newsmax. It's real.
Yeah.
It's real.
I believe it.
Yeah. He says, quote, first of all, we'll first figure out everybody that went through that area. It's not heavily trafficked. That's absurd. That lying press secretary made it sound like it's Grand Central Station.
One more.
One more.
Hustle.
California closes gyms for 2 weeks to slow the spread of fascism.
Oh, my gosh.
Cries for action grew over the weekend as mainstream media outlets detailed the risks to democracy posed by fitness. Quote, you only stay in shape if you're a Nazi, said Jenny Vanderblunt.
Hannah, what do you think?
I don't even know.
She's a fascist. She says gym all the time. She wouldn't even know. What about you, Brad?
I'm going to say this one is fake, but I have seen an article where they were talking about that.
It's the B's version of reality, as they all are. It is?
Yeah. Do you know who else kept themselves physically fit? Hitler.
Oh, my gosh.
There you go.
Oh, man. Love it. All right, stick around. We've got Eric Schmidt in the next hour. You're not going to want to miss this. Don't go away.
Join Custom Coatings STL on July 22nd for their first annual Custom Car Show fundraising event. 100% of proceeds will go to the Maryville Dance Team, Segs for Vets, and the St. Louis Sports Outreach Organization. The event will take place on July 22nd at Deschênes High School in St. Charles. There will be food, raffles, awesome cars, and fun for the whole family. Check them out and learn more at their Facebook page, 2023 Custom Coatings STL Car Show, or online at customcoatingsstl.com.
Updating your home with James Hardie Siding has never been more popular. With all the options available, you need a partner to ensure you maximize your investment. Siding Express is ready to refresh the appearance of your home or totally transform the look by installing Hardie Shake, Board and Batten, lap siding, or a stone accent to make it your dream home again. Siding Express is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor. They also carry Anderson and Marvin windows and doors. Need ideas? Go to sidingexpress.com and schedule a free, no-obligation consultation today. sidingexpress.com.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and wondering how long your money will last? Are you also sick of worrying about losing your life savings in the next market crash? I'm Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw. As a family business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. Let us build your own personalized structured income plan, which will show you how much income you can receive in retirement, but more importantly, it will show you how long your money will last. Stop wondering if you have enough to retire comfortably.
Call us now at 314-993-9494 for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. We'll teach you the strategies you won't hear from your broker or banker. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping our clients retire with confidence for the past 37 years. Let us help you. So go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
On Saturday, July 15th, the Cardinals take on the Washington Nationals, and you will not want to miss it. That day, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will add an Albert Pujols bobblehead to their collection. This exclusive bauble, presented by Coca-Cola and Schnucks, honors and celebrates Pujols' career, highlighted by 703 home runs. Don't miss out. That's Saturday, July 15th. For tickets, visit cardinals.com/promotions.
Backing up his Newt bar. He's at the track. He jumps, and he caught it!
On Sunday, July 16th, the Cardinals host the Nationals, and there is a giveaway for everyone. That day, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will take home a mystery Cardinals Henley, thanks to Bayer. And the younger fans like me will get in on the fun too, when 10,000 kids ages 15 and under receive a Cardinals all-over print hat. For tickets, visit cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Lars Newtbar. Make your family memories at the ballpark.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
He's already lost the war. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. President Biden today saying Russia cannot sustain the war in Ukraine, and he believes President Vladimir Putin will eventually end his invasion.
My hope is, and my expectation is, you'll see that Ukraine makes significant progress on their offensive, and that it generates a negotiated settlement somewhere along the line.
Regarding Ukraine joining NATO, President Biden says no one can join NATO while a war is going on. He says an attack against a NATO nation guarantees that we're in a third world war. He says Ukraine will someday join the alliance. President Biden also saying he's serious about a possible prisoner exchange with Moscow for jailed Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich, who's been detained in Russia for more than 3 months on espionage charges. The president saying he's serious about doing what we can do to free Americans from being illegally held in Russia or anywhere else, adding that the process is underway. The Biden administration is working to strengthen cybersecurity with a plan involving 18 federal agencies.
To create a more resilient, equitable, and defensible cyberspace. The plan also aims to enhance coordination with the private sector by creating clear guidance about the roles and capabilities of federal agencies to respond to cyber attacks in the FBI's Joint Ransomware Task Force, working with partners to disrupt ransomware attacks and reduce the impacts of an attack. U.S. officials have confirmed Chinese hackers were able to penetrate the email account of Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo earlier this year.
Fox's Jared Halpern in Washington. The FDA today approving the first over-the-counter birth control pill. The FDA clearing Perrigo's once-a-day O pill to be sold without a prescription. The company won't start shipping that pill until sometime early next year. America is listening to Fox News.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist and ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Feeling like summertime should this afternoon. Partly sunny skies, rather humid, but nothing more than a spot thunderstorm. Most of us stay rain-free. 92 for the high. Tonight, clear skies, upper 80s once the sun is down. 68 for the low. Friday, partly sunny. The morning's fine, but developing rain and thunderstorms. Some severe mid to late afternoon Friday into Friday evening. Looking for a high of 92. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Second Amendment Radio is a staple of solid firearm information on 97.1 every weekend. Saturday from 3 to 4 and Sunday from noon to 1. It's Second Amendment Radio and the great outdoors. 97.1 FM Talk.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free. easy, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code OIL to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code OIL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code OIL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Hello, everybody. I'm John Rooney. Do you have an old car that's taking up room in the driveway? Repairs are costly and selling is a hassle? That's why you should donate it to Goodwill. Donating is quick and towing is free. Plus, you get a tax receipt and 4 tickets to a Cardinals game, compliments of the St. Louis Cardinals. That's a win-win. For more information or to donate, visit online at mersgoodwill.org. Must mention Cardinals.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands to treat ED at up to 95% off. That's right, the same active ingredient as the brand name for 95% less. It's the same ED medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Mark Reardon sees clearly thanks to Doctors Birdie and Maholtred Ophthalmology Associates. You can too. Go to youridoc.com today. That's youridoc.com or call 314-966-5000. Ophthalmology Associates.
You need a home or commercial security system you can rely on? One that lets you know that the kids got home from school, alerts you to an emergency, monitors your porch, and can even manage your thermostat and lights. Reliant Security can do all of that and more. Visit us at secure-reliant.com.
This hour of the Annie Frey Show is brought to you by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
In the past, it was a false appearance of contrition and substance from the director. You know, he only apologized for things that have violations have already been found by courts and Congress, by the way, against the best efforts of the FBI. And so for things that are already established, he went ahead and said, well, we'll never do that again. But in terms of the violations that we've already laid out in terms of censorship, FISA violations with the secret court, those are already laid out in the public record. He just refused to comment. Sometimes he said that he didn't have any recollection, and it was a maddening experience.
It was maddening. If you were able to take in any of the director Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI, testimony this week in front of the House, I listened to probably an hour of it, and I wasn't really super jazzed about how the Republicans played from person to person, from questioner to questioner, representative to representative. They didn't play off of each other as much as I wish that the coordination behind how you're going to approach asking those questions of the director, I wish that they would be more organized. Granted, if you do that, then you have to have a committee come together and agree on what that order is going to be. And if somebody gets 5 minutes of time, they're going to want their 5 minutes of time. So you have to have a really, really strongly connected committee that has a specific goal in mind. And I was frustrated by that. And then I kind of asked myself, I wondered, maybe there are so many concerns that we might have with what the FBI has been doing that you just have to hit on so many points when you do have an audience with a director, and then it becomes frustrating. One of the questions that was being asked is surrounded January 6th. So we've heard already from Hans von Spakovsky on the Director Ray hearing, and the information of yours, the data that is yours, that is being potentially accessed or could be accessed if the wind shifted in the direction where the FBI was able to use this in investigation towards you for any particular reason. Another thing was the idea of of federal agents being present in the January 6th event, the insurrection or protest or whatever it might be based on your view of it. I'm going to play this as a little bit more long form, but I'm going to ask Ryan and Brad here the YouTube live chat poll question. We're going to talk about it. Which amendment do you feel is facing the greatest threat? The first, the second, the fourth, or another one? The First Amendment is freedom of religion, speech, press, and the to petition and assemble. The second is the right to bear arms, have weapons, and the fourth is no unreasonable search and seizure. Listen to this exchange between Congressman Biggs and Director Ray yesterday.
It has been reported that more than 40 FBI personnel agents or contractors were in the crowd on January 6th. Is that number accurate?
I don't know if that number is accurate.
Former Capitol Police Chief Stephen Son reportedly has asserted that the protest crowd was filled with federal agents. Are you aware of his assertion?
I am not.
Would you agree with him that it was filled with federal agents on January 6th?
I would really have to see more closely exactly what he said and get the full context to be able to evaluate it.
How many agents were actually agents or human resources were present in the Capitol complex and vicinity on January 6th?
Well, again, it's going to get confusing because it depends on when we deployed and responded to the breach that occurred.
So I'm interjecting here because you're going to hear Director Ray clarify or quantify these questions because he doesn't, I assume, want to provide a direct answer. Is Director Ray, I mean, Ryan, to think that the director of the FBI isn't smart enough to deduce what Congressman Biggs is trying to get at here, he knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, there's a lot of dancing going on yesterday with a lot of these questions, which is actually why it's important to get him on record doing this, because then you can see him avoiding certain topics like the plague.
Unless, in fact, they aren't able to get him on record because he keeps dodging.
We're under federal agents.
Sure. Yeah, you're talking, and you and I both know what we're talking different things here. And please don't distract here because we're focusing on those who were there in an undercover capacity on.
And it stopped. I'm going to re-cue this up, so pull that down. I listened to the way that they go through this exchange here, and then they push through the conversation, and Biggs keeps asking of Director Ray the same question. The question is ultimately, did the feds have anything to do with instigating this? Isn't that what they're asking?
It's so clear.
I mean, that's one of those questions that you're not supposed to ask. And if you were to be on social media, I would think that question, if you just asked it point blank of the director, he should be able to say, absolutely not.
Right.
Absolutely not. But that's not always how these questions go. You're trying to get specific, quantifiable numbers. If there were this many federal agents present on the grounds on January 6th, and Director Ray could say those became present when there was an obvious issue that was at hand. There were absolutely no federal agents in the crowd. There was no federal agent participation in infiltrating any of the groups, and dispel every rumor under oath in front of Congress, dispel every rumor that the far right wing extremists have been alleging, and do it all right there and get to it. Let's pull it back up.
Again, I'm not sure that I can give you that number as I sit here. I'm not sure there were undercover agents
I'm not sure.
On scene.
I find that kind of a remarkable statement, Director. At this point, you don't know whether there were undercover federal agents, FBI agents in the crowd or in the Capitol on January 6th?
I say that because I want to be very careful. There have been a number of court filings related to some of these topics, and I want to make sure that I stick within what's in.
I understand that, but I thought I heard you say you didn't know whether there were FBI agents or informants or human sources in the Capitol or in the vicinity on January 6th. Did I misunderstand you? I thought that's what you said.
Well, I referred very specifically to undercover agents.
Yeah. And so are you acknowledging then there were undercover agents?
As I sit here right now, I do not believe there were undercover agents on scene, FBI agents.
Do you see how he says, I do not believe there were undercover agents? And then Congressman Biggs goes, any assets? Because if this is a semantical situation where Congressman Biggs is getting to the simple question that I just summed it up in, did you have anything to do with starting January 6th? That's what the congressman is getting to. And if you're saying, did you have any undercover agents? Well, maybe we don't call them undercover agents. We call them confidential human sources or whatever the situation might be. Or maybe they're not even that. Maybe there's an element of how the federal agency uses people or assets or information or technology in a way that we don't know about, but still could potentially lend to the bottom line of what Congressman Biggs is trying to get to. I, for one, would love the question to just be asked so that they could go, that's insulting that you would say that to me. Of course we had nothing to do that, but do it under oath.
Did you have any assets present that day in the crowd?
When it comes to what you're calling assets or what we would call confidential human sources, that's a place where, again, I want to be careful, much as I said in response to an earlier question. There are court filings that I think speak to this that I'm happy to make sure we get to you, assuming they're not under seal. And that can better answer the question than I can as I sit here right now.
So then there was another exchange. I don't know if we have the full exchange on that from yesterday, but there was another exchange that went back and forth with a Democratic representative. And they were talking about how the federal agency uses your information and accesses your information. And I don't know if you heard that exchange, but when they went back and forth, Director Wray kept saying, this is really complicated. And I wouldn't want to explain it here in a way that would be misconstrued. Maybe we can do that another time and schedule a separate hearing. And the Democratic representative was right to say, well, this information is for the American people. Just because you deem it of your intellectual capabilities and maybe not ours doesn't mean that the American people shouldn't have a right to that information. I think that there's another thing with a lot of these hearings. Sometimes there are going to be subsequential hearings down the line, and these things can build upon one another. But if you listen to us talk about to Hans von Spakovsky at 12:25, I really encourage you to listen to that interview if you missed it or didn't get to hear the whole thing. You can rewind on the Odyssey app. That the idea exists there that if you want to do something about Director Wray, the president can fire him. I don't think we think that Joe Biden is going to fire Director Wray. He'd have to put somebody else in there who would have to be confirmed. It's not happening. The second thing is that the House can impeach Director Wray. We've seen filings to impeach the Director of Homeland Security, Mayorkas. People have talked and I guess maybe filed. Didn't Boebert file impeachment papers on Biden? There's that. But Director Wray, he could be impeached as well. Doubt that that's going to go anywhere in the Senate, just the same way that they impeached Donald Trump. And then the third thing is that they could defund them. But I really think that this is a very precarious moment in time where the First Amendment is being attacked and the Fourth Amendment is being attacked in ways that Director Wray is going to get away with saying, well, this is just a little bit above your pay grade, but we can talk about it later.
Yeah, there's a lot at stake here beyond even the questions that are being asked. Who's in charge? Who's really in charge of the country? Is it the elected representatives of Congress that answer directly to us? Or is it the FBI who supposed to be answering to Congress, but isn't answering any questions? Who's really in charge?
First Amendment, freedom of religion, speech, press, to petition and assemble. The Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. The Fourth Amendment, no unreasonable search and seizure. A little bit later in the show, I'll read the full amendments as they are written in the Bill of Rights. Do you have a strong thought on which amendment is currently facing the biggest threat?
Yeah, I do. And it's not just because of Wray's testimony, because that's the soup du jour of the moment, but I do believe it's the Fourth Amendment The first and the second definitely under attack, but I think the pushback has been strong on those, and we are seeing that turn. The fourth hasn't gotten as much of attention, and I can cite numerous examples of them using the state to attack people like Matt Taibbi after the Twitter files, going after James O'Keefe and Ashley Biden diary and stuff. These are illegal search and seizures using the power of government to do that.
Well, specifically with Matt Taibbi, among other people, is having the IRS show up at his doorstep and using other federal agencies not to... You want to tread over here? Well, we can do that too. And if you want to... the coincidence... It's not a coincidence. The government is flexing and threatening people who choose to reveal truth to expose these things, which is why, I look at the second and the fourth one. I don't think you're wrong at all in your assessment. I think that's a good, smart way to approach it. But I always go back to that First Amendment, because the thing that makes all of this come to light is the idea that we would be in a position to have information provided to us so we can make good decisions about who represents us and is making these laws, and in a position to put these people in front of a congressional hearing under oath. And the First Amendment being the epitome of our freedom to be disgusted with our government and shout it from the rooftops. And the reliance on a press that is supposed to be out there advocating for and protecting the American people from the government, knowing how much they've fallen flat on their face in favor of the government over the people. It just seems to me like the First Amendment is under attack on so many different ways, and we need the First Amendment in full force to protect us from the Fourth Amendment being infringed. And then people will say, but the Second Amendment is how you enforce the First Amendment. So they're kind of all important. Brad, what do you think?
Well, up until about 30 seconds ago, I was really going to say...
Sorry.
I was really going to say, I'm looking at the Second Amendment. It's that whole idea that there's a couple things of it. The Second Amendment is important because it's the one that helps you enforce the other ones. But whenever I was reading the poll, it says, do you feel is facing the greatest threat? To me, the greatest threat toward the Second Amendment is how the narrative has been passed, and it's very mainstream to be anti-Second Amendment.
Trendy.
Yeah, it's trendy, it's mainstream. There are a lot of citizens, not just government officials, out there pushing back on the Second Amendment. And I was leaning toward that, and then you said freedom of the press. And then I said, yeah, about that. That is a huge assault on the First Amendment. And that's a huge problem, because that's the one, whenever the press holds water for one party over the other, or pushes an agenda over one party rather than the other, or doesn't just inform, actually actively misinforms by shaping the narrative, it's a threat.
Yeah,
and that can change.
Purposeful word there, and an important one.
It can change how people view all of the other amendments. So the way the narrative is shaped around gun violence and all of that other stuff, that's what puts the Second Amendment in danger. So if we don't get the First Amendment under control, we could lose all of them.
Yeah. The question is not what's the most important amendment. The question is which amendment is facing which of your freedoms that are protected by the Bill of Rights and the amendments. Which of your freedoms is facing the greatest threat? And so that's the first, the second, and the fourth are the ones that I feel are super timely to this specific moment in time, Thursday, July 13th. But there are certainly other ones that I could absolutely advocate if I had more than 4 options based on YouTube, which is funny. I saw some people saying that the YouTube poll was acting up today, and I thought, of course it is. That's why you vote first. I don't know. Go to the YouTube poll and tell me hopefully you're subscribed to the Annie Frey Show on YouTube, but let us know if you see anything that's weird on the poll. It's pretty, no pun intended, meta of the entire situation.
Yeah, if it gets too weird, then you're not even going to be able to say anything about it.
Yeah.
So
and your freech.
You better type now.
Your free speech will be suppressed. We're going to take a break, and Senator Eric Schmitt of the state of Missouri, on with us on the Annie Frey Show when we return to talk about Missouri versus Biden and to discuss with us exactly what he's been able to do, but he's not done yet. You're going to want to hear the senator on the Annie Frey Show when we return.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
RulerFoods.com is where you can go see the advertisements that are out there for the extra savings that you're going to enjoy at Ruler Foods. Anytime you shop there, you're going to save. They have great name brands, lots of the products that you buy everywhere else. They are at Ruler Foods for lower prices, but they also carry Kroger brands at Ruler Foods prices, which is another great, fantastic way to save. You can also find the Ruler Foods located closest to you by going to rulerfoods.com. Right now, they have 28-ounce Powerade, 10 for $10. McCormick Grill Seasonings, they have those 2 for $4. They have barbecue sauce, Kroger barbecue sauce, 4 for $5. Kroger Tub Lunch Meat, 7 to 9 ounces, 2 for $6. When you're looking to save on your groceries, especially if you are in a situation like I am, where I'm trying to feed 6 people at a time every day, my husband and I really appreciate the value and the quality that we get when we shop for our family at Ruler Foods. Save on your grocery bill each and every time you shop. They are simple, smart, and fresh. It's Ruler Foods online at rulerfoods.com.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure, it's just not fun, always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call 314-332-2885. 314-332-2885. That's 314-332-2885.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. If you haven't had your AC system check, you're spending more money than you need to this summer to stay cool. Schedule your AC system check for as little as $15 a month. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Big show Thursday afternoon. We got Kill Me at 3:25. George Gray in studio with The Price is Wrong at 4:25. And Michelle Tafoya at 5:07.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
It essentially is banning key government agencies, including the Department of Health and Human Services, the FBI, the Justice Department, the CDC, and about 12 key administration officials, including the White House press secretary and the U.S. Surgeon General, from communicating with social media companies, which include Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Google, Instagram, over concerns that this judge has about the communications that they've had related to the pandemic. Now, this goes back to a 2022 lawsuit that was filed by two state attorneys generals from Missouri and from Louisiana, who say that the Biden administration overstepped in their communication to these social media companies.
Welcome back to the Eddie Frey Show. Incredibly excited for our next guest here. I get to say it, United States Senator Eric Schmitt. Welcome back to the Eddie Frey Show, Senator. It's great to have you here.
It is great to be back, Annie.
Thank you so much. You know, I was watching your hit on Laura Ingraham, and the news keeps rippling out of your time as the Attorney General of the state of Missouri, and now you are in a position in the United States Senate to do even more with your fight for our First Amendment rights, among many others. The Missouri the lawsuit that you filed as the Attorney General that has had the Missouri versus Biden has continued to have a ripple effect. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to bring it down to our level here and tell us, what did this court case really put in motion regarding the defense of free speech for Missourians, of course, but really folks like me in Illinois and the rest of the 50 states?
Yeah, I mean, obviously our First Amendment rights to speak our minds and to make our own decisions is fundamental to the country, and it's a foundational liberty and freedom that we have, and it's been under attack by the Biden administration. But to take a step back, so over a year ago now, when I was AG in Missouri, we filed Missouri versus Biden, and what we alleged and now have proven that the Biden administration has instituted a vast censorship enterprise to suppress speech in America. And what do I mean by that? Well, the judge, by the way, agreed with that and issued which is pretty remarkable, an injunction against a number of different agencies now, against the FBI, the CDC, White House officials, Department of Homeland Security, including agencies people have never heard of like CISA, of all these, entities that were mobilized by the Biden administration to suppress speech. The judge found that not only was it vast and wide-ranging, but it was almost exclusively against conservatives. And it had, I think, a breadth that was beyond what anybody could have possibly imagined. I mean, he, in his own words, called it Orwellian, and that this was perhaps the biggest violation of free speech rights in American history. And so you had, three big buckets, I'd say, Annie, where you had origins of COVID, where, Fauci, who funded through a third party the Wuhan lab, and when people started talking about that, he desperately, and of course, for years, wanted to label anybody a conspiracy theorist. You had the Hunter Biden laptop story, that the FBI had the laptop in 2019. We took the deposition not only of Fauci in this case, but we took the deposition of Elvis Chan, an FBI official in Northern California, who was having weekly meetings, censorship meetings with these big tech companies saying, hey, look out for this Russian hack and leak operation. It was the Hunter Biden laptop. Well, they already had it. They knew it was real. So they're trying to suppress the story before it ever came out. And then, of course, all these other COVID protocols, whether it was the transmissibility of COVID or mask mandates or whatever. I mean, they were shutting people down, and they were taking down millions of posts and censoring Americans. And the judge ruled on Independence Day, which is not an accident, that they are now prohibited from doing this. So what are the sort of the next steps? Well, now as a United States Senator, today I'm introducing legislation with Rand Paul and others to essentially put into law what the judge's order was, which is you can no longer conduct this activity. You can't have these meetings where you're flagging things and taking things down under the threat of, they were threatening antitrust investigations, other legal action, getting them to change their terms of service. I mean, this was the heavy hand of government working with some of the biggest companies in the history of the world to suppress speech. So it was a big win. There's more work to do, but I think we should celebrate that we had that win and know that this is a fight that continues on.
Yeah, and it's so important that that fight does continue on. It's been very evident to me in watching how, even on our show, and our show makes a little ripple in the pond, but there are ones that make much larger ripples where the social media outlets come and there's just certain things you're not allowed to say. And it's as if truth is the enemy of the Biden administration and the policies that they're trying to put in place. Senator Schmitt, when the conversation starts to open up, and average everyday Americans, everyday Missourians start having conversations about these things uncensored, what is the Biden administration afraid is going to come of average folks having average discussions that they aren't able to police?
Well, I mean, clearly they were, this has an impact on elections. I'm sure that's one of their reasons.
Yeah.
But also, I just think I'm a conservative. You're a conservative. This to me is not a Republican versus Democrat thing. I grew up, I just turned 48, right? So I'm Gen X. I grew up in a time where liberals were defending free speech. I don't know how we got to this place where so many on the left now are, number one, afraid of the debate and willing to exercise the heavy hand of government to shut people down. And you're supposed to fight speech you don't agree with more speech. That's the idea of America. What they're doing, the Biden administration, is not actually unique in most of the world. I mean, this is what tyrannical dictatorial regimes do. They don't like something. They'll declare an emergency like they did with COVID, and then they'll prevent people from disagreeing with the government. And that's exactly what was going on here. And so people ought to be able to have a robust debate about, hey, we're going to question whether or not the vaccine actually prevents transmissibility. And if you did that at one time, you were labeled a conspiracy theorist. Yes. We know that actually is true now, right? And I was suing school districts over mask mandates. You weren't allowed to have the debate of whether or not masks were effective or not. You were labeled a conspiracy theorist. It was disinformation and misinformation. That's just a cover for them to, infringe upon your right to speak your mind. And that's what this debate's about. We are on the right side of this, and we have to continue to press this issue.
We're speaking with United States Senator Eric Schmitt. You've helped be a bellwether in legal progress on these First Amendment issues. But if you compound what kind of censorship they've been able to get away with, their backdoor partnerships with places like Twitter. Thank you, Elon Musk, for making a charitable purchase of Twitter so that we could see what was behind the curtain. The legal progress has been made. We're starting to get an exposure on what kind of conversations were taking place. But the media is right there in there with it. They carry the water. They have a narrative that on the whole they like to support. Are you seeing any political progress in spite of all of these roadblocks that have been put up in front of conservatives, or like you said, not really a red-blue issue, just people who like to have their liberty in a country where they thought that was the priority? Do you see any political progress on the people who care about liberty as you've moved through the legal proceedings here?
Yeah, so I'd say three thoughts on that. The first is I'm actually astounded that the mainstream media is willing to go along with this. I mean, Woodward and Bernstein are dead, right? Like, it used to be the free press would challenge authority, and now they are the messengers of the regime. I mean, this is honestly, I genuinely am shocked by that, and maybe that's a vestige of a bygone era now, but they're more advocates than they are journalists. I think that's one thing. The second observation is, if it wasn't for our lawsuit and it wasn't for Elon Musk buying Twitter and the Twitter files, Annie, all this stuff would still be behind closed doors. It'd still be in the dark. We wouldn't know any of this, right? We would have suspicions about it, but we uncovered 20,000 pages of correspondence between the government. And I'm not talking about these are the Surgeon General of the United States pressuring senior Facebook officials to take things down. And then the response is, okay, we did that. What else can we do? I mean, this ought to scare the bejesus out of everybody that's out there. As far as the political progress goes, I am hopeful. So, obviously this is something I worked on before. I'm, trying to be a thought leader here, and we're working on legislation, like I said, with Rand Paul, with Senator Haggerty on transparency issues related to this. I do think there's some momentum. I mean, whether or not, I don't know what's going to happen in a divided Congress. I hope the Democrats just don't put on their blue jerseys on this thing and try to block it. But all I can do is work as hard as I can for something that I believe in. And I think that the people in Missouri and people in this country are with us on this, and it's just really important. I mean, you can't lose on this thing. If you lose, if we don't take this God-given right back, I mean, government's supposed to protect this right, not infringe upon this right, and that's what this debate's all about. And so, we're going to have legislation that says, hey, you can't do it anymore. But more than that, I mean, one of the things that's important to me is we're including a private right of action for individuals to be able to sue government officials for this. It's that important.
Wow.
So there's a lot to do. And we also, for big tech companies that engage in this kind of infringement, I also have legislation that says you don't get the Section 230 protection anymore, meaning you can be sued. Right now, they can't be sued because the idea was, Annie, in 1996, when the internet was kind of new, these are going to be platforms. This is different than Newsweek. This is different than CBS News. You're going to be platforms where people can have an open debate. Right. But if they're not going to be that kind of place, then they shouldn't, be afforded those protections either.
One last question for you. We're speaking with United States Senator Eric Schmitt. I can't imagine that we're batting 1,000 here on calling out the only place where this was occurring and being able to see behind the curtains, like Elon Musk has shown us in the Twitter threads. We don't really know what's been going on. At least I don't. At Meta with Facebook or Google and Alphabet and YouTube and all of these different companies where people do have these conversations and would like to speak freely, but maybe have felt, if you're on my side of the aisle, the conservative side of the aisle, in a lot of cases, you just quit having and trying to have the conversation. Is there a way to dig deep here and find out more of what took place at Meta with Zuckerberg and Facebook and Instagram, and now that he's created Threads?
Yeah, and so in the legislation that I'm proposing, not only do we have transparency on the government side, that every 60 days they have to report who they are, what they're flagging and why, so there's transparency there, but also on the big tech side, they need to be transparent with what they're taking down potentially, or their contacts with the government on these things. I think once this has to be out in the open, I just don't think they'll be less likely to do it because people don't like this. And again, I am not afraid of the debate. There's people who, voted for me. I appreciate that. And thankfully more people voted for me than didn't vote for me for the Senate. But the truth is it's okay. Like, not everybody has to agree on everything, and I'm okay with that. And I'll defend somebody's right to disagree with me. What we're seeing on the left now is a very different view of debate. They don't want to have it. And they want to shut people down, and they want to say you're a conspiracy theorist or you're spreading disinformation or misinformation. That's un-American as far as I'm concerned. And so I think we got to get back to the place where we're having these debates and people can make up their own minds. It's why, on the mask mandates when I was suing school districts, my point of view there was people can make their own decisions about these things. Let people gather the information and decide on their own what they want to do. And I think, the speech debate's the same way.
I saw on your Twitter account you highlighted, was it an intern or somebody working in D.C. who's like, hey, you sued my school. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's so funny. It's funny because, all these places, social media, you got, tread carefully, right? But
sure.
The God's honest truth is, there were interns in the Capitol yesterday, and we were getting pictures taken with them, and a young woman came up to me and said, she introduced herself, said, hi, I'm so-and-so, and you sued my school last year. Thank you. So it's like,
you're welcome.
It was great. I was like, yes, it's my pleasure to defend your right to make your own decisions. But, people on the left in the Twitter sphere were like, that didn't happen. That's a made-up story. It actually happened. I don't think they can wrap their heads around the idea that people, sort of like to make their own decisions and they don't want to be told what to do by these bureaucrats all the time.
Yeah, 100%. A lot of those people are the ones who would like to make those decisions for everyone else as well. Senator Schmitt, we are so grateful for your time today, for all the freedom fighting you're doing. Keep it up, and we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thanks, Annie.
Love talking to Senator Eric Schmitt here on the Annie Frey Show, and you need your thoughts and opinions. Maybe he persuaded you one way or another on our YouTube live chat poll today. Which amendment do you feel is facing the greatest threat? Is it your freedom of religion, speech, press to petition and assemble? That's the first one. Is it the second, your right to bear arms? Or the fourth, no unreasonable search and seizure? Or maybe it's another one, and you're free to comment on the Annie Frey YouTube channel and let us know if you vote for another one, which one you think it is and why. Appreciate you being here. We'll be back with more Annie Frey Show in just a minute. Don't go away.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
And I remember going back years and years and years. In the studio right now, there's an intern, and we're talking about he doesn't have any need for air conditioning, but he's not responsible for the heating and cooling equipment in his house. And it just reminded me, I don't know why, when I was his age, maybe a little bit younger, I was always told by my father that we don't need air conditioning. What did the cowboys do? How did they make it? There was no such thing as air conditioning, and they were riding on a horse through a desert. And I went, wow, I guess I don't need air conditioning. And then I went, you know what? The cowboys died when they were 21 years old. Do you think maybe they died by heat exhaustion? If your air conditioner is broke, we're going to try to get to you the best we can. Call me, Bart Inman. Remember, that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I. The number, Missouri and Illinois. One easy number, 314-293-2600, or Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
Get ready for the Diamonds Direct Midsummer Savings Event. Starting Friday, you can take an extra 20% off virtually everything. Rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, and more. You get Diamonds Direct's already unbeatable price, plus an extra 20% off. Thousands of engagement mountings, fashion styles, and wedding bands included. Plus, acclaimed jewelry designers will be in store with an expanded selection. All the latest styles and trends, all on sale. You can't miss this. Diamonds Direct's sizzling summer store-wide sale. Starting Friday. Get details at diamondsdirect.com.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
We are Onder Law, your St. Louis legal powerhouse. Auto accidents, work injuries, pharmaceutical litigations, we do it all.
Onder Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-3333. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, job relocation houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-3333. That's 314-782-3333.
Thought it was great hearing from Senator Eric Schmitt just now on several different topics, including Missouri versus Biden, and catching up on his thoughts on so many different things in that interview. Great stuff. If you want to hear it and you didn't, rewind on the Odyssey app. It just happened just a few minutes ago, so you can catch back up. It's 1:47 right now. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Awesome. That's what I'm talking about.
97.1 FM Talk.
I look forward to hearing the station all day.
Everyone is welcome.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Don't apply to him. He's trying to act like an incumbent in this race. Frankly, just the way Joe Biden is in the Democratic primary. He's not participating in any sort of a primary campaign either, and Trump wants Republican voters to see him as a de facto incumbent. And guess what? A lot of Republican voters do see him that way because they don't accept that he lost the last election. So I don't expect him to want to go to events where he's going to be put on a playing field of people that he believes are lesser or that are beneath him. Because that's just not the strategy he's running. It's not hurting him. And, you know, Donald Trump's like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You're not going to change your opinion about it at this point. You either like it or you don't.
Is peanut butter and jelly that divisive? I didn't know that was a division of people.
Only if you have a peanut allergy. Otherwise, I think everybody's cool with it.
I think that there's a medical condition causing people to not like Donald Trump.
I think that's probably right.
That's possible. I meant to talk about this earlier in the week and didn't get around to it, but I'm very interested in the the Tucker Carlson Iowa involvement here. I'm going to read from Real Clear Politics. More than one Republican presidential campaign expressed surprise, even trepidation, when Real Clear Politics broke the news in March that Tucker Carlson would moderate a presidential forum hosted by the family leader. Carlson is out at Fox News. Half a dozen candidates have entered the race for the Republican presidential nomination since his exit. And whether they like it or not, 6 White House hopefuls will sit down Friday with the opinionated commentator described by one GOP campaign official as a, quote, fast-talking New Age populist. One by one, Carlson will grill Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, former Vice President Mike Pence, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson, and businessman Vivek Ramaswamy. Outside of my extreme interest in what that's going to look like, how does Fox cover it?
Like how do they report on it?
It's going to be news. You can't if they choose to avoid it. What a public decision.
Boy, I never even thought about that until you just said it.
I know. It's interesting, isn't it?
That is interesting. I think you probably still report on it, and they probably just won't mention Tucker much. They'll just
He's going to be part of it. You can't. You can't cover that in just like crop. Well, it's like your Facebook profile picture when they dump the boyfriend, and then it's like the boyfriend's arm and hand and cheek and beard are in the picture, and you're like, I know who that is. I know who that is. Did they break up? What happened to them? Why did they break up? What did he do? Was it her? Was it him? Still in the picture, but it's like, this is the best photo of me, and I'm not losing it to this relationship.
I think that's a great analogy.
Thank you.
I think that's exactly what they're going to do.
No way.
I do.
Then that becomes the story, and it's Fox News in the center of a story. There's no way they can do that.
They're not going to air it live. They're going to air it after the fact. They'll air quotes and clips from the candidates themselves. They just won't air Tucker.
Yeah, but what if the question is the part? A lot of times answers don't completely define the questions.
I just think they'll avoid it.
He's not there.
I think they will. I think they'll avoid it entirely.
Oh, I 100% don't. They can't.
I can't see how they could avoid it. I mean, outside, like, they blur his face and modulate his voice.
Unknown host said,
"Do you promise to support the nominee no matter who it was?"
They just make sure he's backlit so he's a shadow.
No, they should just do your
thoughts on this?
Have you practiced that?
Oh.
That's bizarre. They're just going to do what you do for X's and O's, and it's going to be all Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, it's AI. We have AI reading unknown host's words.
The moderator.
What they have to do, which is what anybody who ends a relationship, is the ender of the relationship has to do, is you have to fully move on with the confidence that it was the right decision. Because excluding Tucker very publicly, because everyone is going to lean into. I haven't heard anyone talking about this. I am just watching with wide eyes and like wrapping fingers. If they do the cropped Facebook profile picture where you still see everybody knows what's going on here, but you purposely made the effort to not show the person, it's going to be a huge story, and it doesn't make Fox look good. In my opinion, they have to show it everything and just put it out there like Tucker Carlson did this. And media entrepreneur Tucker Carlson. I don't know what they call him. But
media entrepreneur.
Yeah. I do feel like jobless Tucker Carlson.
Failed Fox host.
I mean, what a test. I love Tucker Carlson. I have a Tucker Carlson on Twitter t-shirt. I bought his
that's awesome.
Overpriced t-shirt, and I haven't had the guts to wear it publicly yet. But I support him wholeheartedly, and I think that anybody who goes and blows up the system in order to make more voices, even if Tucker's voice is never as big and broad as it was on Fox News, the fact that he potentially can and will exist outside of the former structure means that all of establishment media gets deflated just a little bit, and other voices out there get inflated a little bit. And if nobody is ever as big and powerful as the mainstream media has been in the last 30 years of my lifetime, that's a win. And it's honestly, in my opinion, going to be done on the shoulders of Tucker Carlson. I think that he is going to be one of the pioneers in that. We've seen people like Joe Rogan really forge a new way of reaching people, and he's kind of untouchable, knock on wood. I'll probably eat those words soon. But we saw the same thing with Jon Stewart and The Daily Show when they decided to take what the mainstream media was doing and just do it differently in a different location. Now we're seeing all of that outside of the confines of cable and network news, and I think it's good. And Fox News is going to have to report on it, and it's going to be funny.
Mm-hmm. I think the wise move here is just to, every time Tucker appears on the screen, they can't avoid it. They just call him former Jesse Waters time slot host. And then they just let the clip play.
Again, that would make the story about Fox News and not about the content they're covering. What do you think is going to happen?
I think they're just going to run. I think they're going to do the news organization thing, and they're going to run the clips, and they're going to play it. And it's not going to look. I mean, if you don't know the story about Fox and Tucker, you're living under a rock. But it's not going to look awkward to see.
That's not true. You're just not one of us.
This is true.
You don't have to know the drama behind Tucker Carlson to live outside of rocks.
But if you just see Tucker Carlson on Fox and he's doing an event, it's not going to look weird or out of place outside of the fact that it was just a public firing.
The smartest public thing for Fox News to do is to not acknowledge that it's weird at all. Mm-hmm. Let it all play out in front of everybody and not look like they're uncomfortable having to deal with it. And if I were them, if I were advising the PR behind this, I would let Laura Ingraham and Sean Hannity, I don't know about the word let and how that factors into things, but I would encourage them to handle it however they individually would normally handle it. Mm-hmm. And to talk about, to let Laura Ingraham go on there and say, Tucker Carlson asked a really great question here, listen to this response and play the clip, because the Fox viewers are PO'd. I am PO'd that Tucker is not on primetime anymore. I seek out his Twitter stuff and I pay attention to it and I watch it. I haven't watched the most recent one, but it's still important to me. It would be a minor love letter to the Fox viewer to let the hosts treat him with the dignity that I think he deserves and the respect I think he deserves and the respect that we deserve as viewers. Anyway, stay tuned. We'll see. 2 o'clock hour in a minute. Don't go away.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands to treat ED at up to 95% off. That's right, the same active ingredient as the brand name for 95% less. It's the same ED medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Well, if you haven't noticed, summer is here. It is hot, but this time of year, it's great still because you can still grill in the evening and it's nice. I think that's why grilling season is so coveted in St. Louis, because it's finally the time of day that's nice. Get a bottle of Andrea's sauce and make it great. Don't just grill. Make your grilling an experience with Andrea's sauce. It is world famous, locally made, right here in Fairview Heights, Illinois. And you can get a bottle by ordering it online at andreas.com or picking it up in the stores. Now, if you go into Schnucks right now or Deerberg's, a lot of times they're going to have it on the end caps or in their seasonal sections, and it's actually going to be on sale. So encourage you, if you've never tried it especially, to pick up a bottle of Andrea's sauce right now. Now, even if you don't use the whole bottle while you're grilling during grilling season, you can use it for pretty much anything in stews, in any poultry, any meat. It's great. Andrea's sauce is going to change the way you cook. I promise you, you got to try it. Go to andreas.com or pick up a bottle in Deerberg's or Schnucks right now.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan, president of McKelvey Homes. Founded in 1898, McKelvey Homes is celebrating 125 years with our inventory home sale. Get $12,500 off of all our market homes. Move in quick, lock in your interest rate, and get all the popular features and colors selected by design professionals. And for every home sold, McKelvey Homes will donate $1,898 to Dravet Syndrome Foundation. Visit McKelveyHomes.com.
Join Custom Coatings STL on July 22nd for their first annual Custom Car Show fundraising event. 100% of proceeds will go to the Maryville Dance Team, SEGS for Vets, and the St. Louis Sports Outreach Organization. The event will take place on July 22nd at Deschênes High School in St. Charles. There will be food, raffles, awesome cars, and fun for the whole family. Check them out and learn more at their Facebook page, 2023 Custom Coatings STL Car Show, or online at CustomCoatingsSTL.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Concerns about Russian nukes. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. President Biden wrapping up his overseas trip in Finland today after a summit with leaders from Nordic nations. The president discussed concerns Russian President Vladimir Putin could use nuclear weapons in Ukraine if he feels like he has no other option.
I don't think there's any real prospect, you never know, but of Putin using nuclear weapons. Not only has the West, but China and the rest of the world has said, don't go there.
Russia deployed battlefield nuclear weapons to Belarus earlier this year. A Secret Service investigation has failed to determine who brought cocaine into the White House. The Secret Service says no fingerprints or DNA turned up on the baggie of cocaine found at the White House last week, and surveillance footage did not identify any suspect. The FDA approves over-the-counter sales of a birth control pill.
It's made by the Dublin-based Perrigo company, which says it will likely be available early next year, but hasn't said what the medication will cost. In May, an FDA advisory panel, including doctors and healthcare specialists, voted unanimously that the benefits of making a birth control pill available over-the-counter vastly outweigh the risks. The O-pill was approved for prescription use 50 years ago, and the over-the-counter version will be identical to the prescription version.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. The latest Labor Department report indicates the nation's job market is holding up.
New applications for unemployment benefits fell last week, dropping by 12,000 to 237,000. The number of people remaining on unemployment benefits rose slightly to 1.729 million.
Fox's Jenny Casola. A federal jury today finding Robert Bowers, the gunman who killed 11 at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh in 2018, is eligible for the death penalty. Another part of the sentencing phase will now determine whether he is executed or handed a mandatory life sentence. America's listening to Fox News.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa"?
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist. Ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Feeling like summertime should this afternoon. Partly sunny skies, rather humid, but nothing more than a spot thunderstorm. Most of us stay rain-free. 92 for the high. Tonight, clear skies, upper 80s once the sun is down, 68 for the low. Friday, partly sunny. The morning's fine, but developing rain and thunderstorms. Some severe mid to late afternoon Friday into Friday evening. Looking for a high of 92. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Specialist, Dave Murray.
Station KFTK, an equal opportunity employer, is dedicated to providing a broad outreach for job vacancies at our stations. We seek the help from local community organizations in referring qualified applicants to our stations. Community organizations that wish to receive our job vacancy information can reach out to Frankie Fan at 206-577-2432. In addition, all listeners are encouraged to visit Odyssey.com for an online listing of job vacancies of all Odyssey radio stations.
AirComfortService.com is always working hard to make sure that your needs are met when you are not in your comfort zone, when the air conditioner isn't pushing cold air or not even working at all. Why is that? What needs to be done in order to fix it? Or do you have to replace it? When you reach out to Air Comfort Service at 314-513-0091, you're going to be connected with somebody who's going to take care of you from start to finish. You're going to make sure that you get the information you need and truly that you receive options. That was the experience that my husband and I had for both our furnace and our air conditioner when the time came to replace it. They will also connect you with great ways to make it more affordable and to make it more accessible. If you're in the market for a new air conditioner or HVAC system, Air Comfort Service wants to help you install that new equipment. You can save up to $1,550 and carry your cool cash rebates on any qualifying system. You also can qualify for 0% financing for up to 72 months. Trust Air Comfort Service, just like I did in my home. You will be glad that you are connected with people who are going to give you the information you need and the great service that you require. 314-513-0091, online at aircomfortservice.com.
Did you know the IRS is a super creditor? Hi, I'm Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. The IRS is the only creditor that can create a bill for you without your permission, then drop the hammer and aggressively collect it by wiping out your bank account, seizing your assets, and levying your wages. No other creditor can do that, and this can all happen without a court approval. If you owe back taxes, you need to be prepared to face the super creditor. Don't just sit back and take it. Fight back. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, we know how to use the laws to your advantage and go toe-to-toe with the IRS. Our office is located right here in St. Louis. Contact the Lance Drury Law Firm today for a free consultation with me, or visit us at lancedrurylaw.com or call 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120 to get started.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
We all know about the speed of sound, but have you ever thought about the sounds of speeding? Drive too fast and you could hear the sound of your vehicle crashing, because one way or another, speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
Critical thinking in critical times. This is St. Louis's home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk. Everyone is welcome. This hour of the Annie Frey Show is brought to you by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
You need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Today's YouTube live chat poll: which amendment do you feel is facing the greatest threat? The first, the second, the fourth, or a different one? You can go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel and vote and leave a comment. We're going to get to some of those comments here before we wrap the show up. This is a story that I'm just kind of stumbled into, and it was queued up to me because I was looking through Yahoo. There's a Yahoo News story on it, but it links to the Seattle Times. So I'm going to go to the Seattle Times for the story. I don't know if you guys have heard this. Seattle police, well, the Yahoo headline first is, body cam catches glimpse inside a Seattle police precinct, and what you see will disgust you.
Okay.
So an officer has a body cam, obviously, on and goes into the precinct, and Yahoo and the Seattle News are reporting on this. And Yahoo starts off by saying, well, the inside of the Seattle Police Department's East Precinct has been exposed for its disgraceful interior. So on the surface, when you read that, what are you thinking you're about to see?
I'm thinking I'm walking into like a New York subway, just like pee everywhere and disgusting inside.
Ew. Any thoughts, Brad?
Man, I don't know. I'm so jaded. Sometimes I think it's just going to be like, I don't know, an American flag or something.
I go on. Seattle Police Department's East Precinct. Yahoo says, I don't mean that it is in unclean, which it certainly could be. According to the Seattle Times, which we'll visit here in a second, according to the Seattle Times, we're talking Trump 2020 flags.
Oh, really?
That's the first thing they listed. Here's the second thing they list from the Yahoo article. We're talking Trump 2020 flags and a mock tombstone of a black man who was killed by the police. Now,
in the police precinct?
Oh, boy.
That's what they're saying. Now, I'm sitting here going, why would that exist? Also, that feels a little bit like burying the lead.
Yeah. That, yeah, all the setup until that line would not have indicated that at all.
So, naturally, my interest is piqued. Who is this person that the police killed? Who, according to this Yahoo story, they created a mock tombstone of a black man who was killed by the police. Of course, I know on the surface, without any of my brain cells being employed that are saying you should learn more about who this man was, who Yahoo determines the skin color is of an important measure here, but
Clearly.
not as important as the Trump 2020 flags that you can see. So the Seattle Times and Yahoo News are saying this is of importance. So I say to myself, what did this man do that was killed by the police to be killed by the police? So I figure I should read on Yahoo News to find out more. Body camera footage from January 2021, which I think is important a little bit if you're thinking that it's a Trump 2020 flag. This was January 2021. So the election was like yesterday. Body camera footage from January 2021 was seized as a part of an ongoing lawsuit challenging the city's graffiti laws after the arrest of protesters who wrote political statements on the precinct's wall with chalk. The report says, ironically, that footage exposed a whole bunch of the officers' own political beliefs displayed on the inside. In the video, a Trump 2020 Keep America Great flag is seen hanging from the wall of the break room. So they don't necessarily think that the tossing in the information of there was a tombstone of a constructed tombstone of a man who was shot by the police who happens to be black. That's my arrangement of the words, not theirs. Just set that aside.
Well, yes, because it seems to me like when you're reading the story, the thing that shoots out of the story to me is that. That's the thing that I'm like, if there's something here, I kind of want to get to the bottom of that part of the story.
3 paragraphs in on Yahoo News, they say that is almost to be expected, referring to the Trump flag. But what really crossed the line was the mock tombstone sitting on a shelf displaying a black power fist. On it was the name of Demarius Butts, a 19-year-old boy who was killed by a hail of 11 bullets at the officers in April 2017 after fleeing a robbery. The report says the officers took it from a Black Lives Matter memorial for people who were killed by the police.
Okay, so it's not a tombstone. It's a
mock tombstone.
It's a fist.
It's a mock tombstone that they had sitting on a shelf displaying a black power fist. So there was a tombstone that they took from a protest that had a black power fist on it. On it was the name of Demarius Butts, a 19-year-old boy who was killed by a hail of 11 bullets at the officers. I'm reading it. I don't understand that preposition. Who was killed by a hail of 11 bullets at the officers in April 2017 after fleeing a robbery. The report says the officers took it from a Black Lives Matter memorial for people who were killed by the police. Now, Butt's mother is demanding answers and an apology from the officers who made a mockery of her son's death.
Okay, that seems like a thing. It seems like something that you would want to know why they have that.
The department said in a statement, most of the things displayed in the room have since been removed. However, they, quote, didn't know how the tombstone ended up on the shelf, but don't have a reason to believe it was placed there with any pejorative intent. The author of this Yahoo News article says, if not pejorative, then what? This is why there's an ever-growing concern about the culture of policing. We don't know what's going on inside the precinct, but whatever it is affects the relationship between cops and the community. The tombstone that they say exists there was not one that they created, but they did keep it. Why, if that's the actual story, and they also have in this Yahoo article from the Seattle Times, Ann Butts, the young man's mother, said his family misses him every day. Quote, I can't express how heartful it was to learn that the Seattle Police Department endorsed joking about the killing of my son by displaying a fake tombstone with his name on it. She said through her attorney, I didn't think the Seattle Police Department could take more from me. I was wrong. Baker, now the legal director of the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, for you folks at home, of Washington, said the nonprofit is, quote, extremely horrified by the behavior of the individual SPD officers responsible for this demonstration of deep disrespect of Demarius Butts' life. There are a few things in play here that I think are worthy of consideration. And the first is that this was picked up by a body cam footage. This isn't something that was taken from a Black Lives Matter protest and used by the police department to send a message outside of the precinct. I think you could probably have a healthy debate over the purpose of having something like that in the precinct. But I also believe that what many in the Seattle Police Department or any of the cities that were under great duress, that had a huge defund the police movement, the idea that the police department would be in opposition to the political Black Lives Matter movement isn't news. That there would be a conflict of outcome that would exist between the Black Lives Matter movement. Wasn't it Minneapolis that was essentially wanting to remove the Minneapolis Police Department in total?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the advocacy of Black Lives Matter as a political organization is in direct conflict with the existence of police departments across the country.
Yeah, I think the National Police Union also endorsed Trump in 2020. And I think I actually just saw that they did again in 2024. I'm not sure about that. But I guess it's not really a huge surprise to hear that the police supported Trump. I mean, their union did. I don't know. Personally, though, I don't know that I would want to see a lot of political ads in police stations, regardless of whether it's a candidate I support or not. I almost feel like that should be left out of there. It's not really a place for it. However, the union did support Trump, so.
Well, didn't it say it was in a break room?
It's just yeah. It's
so
in the
it's not
precinct.
like you're walking into the police precinct and they got flags up.
No, there's a television, and this is their private quarters. This is where they would go to when they aren't out on call.
See, then you're getting into almost a free speech zone there, where you go, well, who's in charge of your office space? Is it the state, or do you have any sort of say over what you display, in your cubicle, that kind of thing?
Butts died after fleeing a robbery at a downtown convenience store where he had displayed a handgun and demanded beer. Officers chased him onto a loading dock at the Federal Building on Western Avenue, where an exchange of gunfire left 3 officers injured. One seriously with a bullet in his chest, but suffered 11 gunshot wounds and bled to death as officers waited outside. The department cleared the officers, and an inquest jury found the shooting justified. Well, that's some important information.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
In an instance where, is it, we don't know if that specific tombstone that was made by Black Lives Matter and being used as a way to celebrate not the life of Demarius Butts, but the death of Demarius Butts as something that they needed to use to further their cause that they believe in. The idea that police brutality is something that exists and in a way that is an epidemic in our country and the direct contrast, like I was mentioning before, between the existence of the political movement of Black Lives Matter and police departments across the country. If I am serving with my brothers and sisters in arms in a uniform, which I've never done, so I can only imagine what this would be like, we're finding out that this man displayed a handgun, put a handgun in somebody's face because he wanted beer. It was worth threatening somebody else's life because he wanted beer. He was willing to put a handgun in someone's face and potentially threaten someone's spouse or parent or child because he wanted beer. That is, I mean, all things considered, it's a very sad existence to be so careless with your own life that you think that that is a risk worth taking. That makes me sad for that man. Mm-hmm. But that is a choice that individual made. So officers get involved because this individual had just threatened the life of another person over beer. Officers get involved. The Yahoo News story, I'll go back to it because I think that this is important. This is the paragraph that they wrote on Demarius here. On it was the name of Demarius Butts, a 19-year-old boy who was killed by a hail of 11 bullets at the officers in April 17th after fleeing robbery. That sentence means that officers hailed down gunfire on Demarius, and 11 of those bullets hit Demarius. It doesn't talk at all about the fact that he held somebody at gunpoint over beer. That's not important for Yahoo News. And if there is no reality that you understand where that makes sense, that those details, that this individual was willing to threaten another man's life over beer, if that detail, if you don't understand the reality that exists where those details can be just left aside, don't forget how they started this article. They had a Trump 2020 flag. To Yahoo News and to Kalen Womack, that's the part that you should culminate on with disgust. That everything that comes after the definition of Trump is involved, here are some other details you might want to care about. All of those extra details that Yahoo News and Kalen Womack want to supply subsidize the idea that Trump is deplorable, disgusting, and evil. When Seattle Times reports that he died after fleeing a robbery at a downtown convenience store where he displayed a handgun and demanded beer, where officers pursued him. Those officers are somebody's children. Those officers have children of their own. Those officers put on a uniform that day to make sure that those convenience store folks who are trying to provide people with beer that they are willingly paying for can go to work and not have to have their life threatened over beer. Those officers put on a uniform to only get involved in those situations when people's lives are being threatened or people's freedoms are being threatened. That's when they show up. That's when they do their job. They put their uniform on to go to work, to put themselves in the line of fire to keep people like you and me safe. But Yahoo News doesn't care about that. They want you to know that somebody who was associated with one of those officers who had a significant injury to their chest because 3 of these officers got bullets that were fired by Demarius to the officers. We don't even mention that in the Yahoo News article. This is what is wrong with our country. We don't have any sense of decency anymore because Yahoo News will go ring out the story and see what comes out so they can pick and choose the things that subsidize their narrative, and the narrative is shockingly Trump bad. It's disgusting, and it's right there in plain sight. And I'm looking at Seattle Times. I don't know anything about the Seattle Times. I imagine that they're not like a bastion of conservative groupthink. No? Seattle?
I wouldn't think, but I don't know. Not a local.
What Yahoo News wants you to come away with is sadness and sorrow for the mother of the man who lost his life based on the consequences of his own actions and the things that led out from the moment he decided to put a gun in someone's face over a beer. And they want you to know that Trump is bad. And in the meanwhile, there is a 19-year-old boy who lost his life because his life was seemingly so hopeless that a beer was worth losing it over. If that is not a tragedy that anybody of any political walk, of any race, wealth, neighborhood, belief system, identity, if we can't ask ourselves the question, why did this guy put himself in this situation to die? Yes, at the hands of an officer who fired upon him. He was clearly firing upon them. Those are all details. The truth is that he died, and that is sad. It is a loss of life that is sad. But Yahoo News doesn't care about that. That's not the point of this article. Yahoo News cares how you feel about Donald Trump and waking up in the morning to make sure that they can use another person, another life loss like this, who I do have sorrow for, that mother and that child. I do feel for them. I wish we could actually care about the lives that are being lost in the midst of political fights and political fundraisings on those lost lives.
This is why nobody trusts news. This is why trust in news is so low, all-time low. It's because good-hearted people want to pick up a news story and go, how can I feel about this situation that's being presented to me? But we've been duped by slanted writers so many times that we can't go into a story and just believe anything anymore. You have to question everything because you know you're being fed something.
Yep. And the more you have to question it, the more work it is. And often the times, the more we just go, I just don't have time.
Exactly.
I don't have the energy. This is exhausting. So you settle comfortably into your worldview. You pick up on headlines that are written for you to see them and go, yep, see, I told you. And you'd have to get to the third, fourth paragraph in Yahoo News to even understand what they're willing to share with you on this story. It's disgusting. All right. Annie, are you okay with that? No. Annie, are you okay with Trisha coming back in the studio next? Yes. She looks lovely today.
That's good to hear.
She's
because
beautiful
if you had said no, I don't know what we're going to do.
Trisha looks beautiful every day. Stunning.
I agree. Me and Brad are shaking our heads.
You guys are like, I don't know.
You're right. You're right. We agree with you, Annie. We didn't say it, but you're right.
I wish the music wasn't playing. I wish it was a clear,
You're just holding.
Just a nice dry drop that I could pull. Trisha and Annie, are you okay? Right here on the Annie Frey Show when we return.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Googling the bagel loan is an easy way to find out about what I'm talking about every day. When it comes to the bagel loan, it's the idea that you're going to go get your mortgage. Man, it's competitive out there right now. The housing market is super competitive. Making sure that you've got everything in line with Stewart's American Mortgage so that your mortgage is ready to go, ready to fire. The dude can close in 10 days. That's huge. And when it comes to being the most flexible and aggressive person making the offer, that could be the very thing that gets you the house in this crazy competitive market. The bagel loan puts you in a position to get that low rate that you can get anywhere else, the lowest one that is out there for you. Stewie can get you that. But he's going to be able to process that loan with you where you don't pay any closing costs. It doesn't exist. He doesn't tuck them away. You don't pay him. It's going to save you thousands of dollars throughout this process. Call him or text him. Say, Annie keeps talking about the bagel loan. How can it help me? And he's going to explain it to you person to person. 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan. NMLS number 226715.
This Little Light is a new podcast hosted by Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Join him as he explores falling in love with music, music education, and the creative process while interviewing the biggest names in music, like Rick Rubin.
I like things that are stripped down. I've always liked things that are stripped down. But then I can get to the point where I like something that's stripped down and what's it like with an orchestra.
This Little Light is a presentation of Cadence 13. Subscribe and download it now on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing. But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171.
Hello, everybody. I'm John Rooney. Do you have an old car that's taking up room in the driveway? Repairs are costly and selling is a hassle? That's why you should donate it to Goodwill. Donating is quick and towing is free. Plus, you get a tax receipt and 4 tickets to a Cardinals game, compliments of the St. Louis Cardinals. That's a win-win. For more information or to donate, visit online at mersgoodwill.org. Must mention Cardinals.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
There's a music station that fits your taste at Odyssey.com. Download the app for instant access to hundreds of music stations and listen live to 97.1 FM Talk. The Odyssey app. Download it or stream from 971talk.com. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Frey Show.
Ready to go. Ready to go.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Come see how good Trisha looks.
Hi, everybody.
You do look great again.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Your hair looks great.
Thank you.
Very tapered.
Keep going. I love
your
this.
blazer is beautiful. I would wear that blazer. Nice necklace. I have that necklace. Is it 3 parts?
Nope.
It's all one feather?
Kohl's.
Okay.
Lauren Conrad.
Mine-
I'm all Kohl's right now.
I like it. Well, thank you for being willing to come back in the studio.
Yeah, of course.
Today, great. Yesterday,
I almost wore my Beetlejuice sweater just for effect.
Hamburglar.
Hamburglar.
What did
Beetlejuice
we hear?
is more.
We heard something. Oh, it was
shocking.
something else I was listening to. A second hamburger reference today. It was off the air. Just for the people listening at home who heard us talking to you yesterday about your outfit, we did talk to you about that beforehand. You did agree to stay.
Yeah.
And I did excessively message her afterwards and be like, that was okay, right?
It was like 3 to 3 messages. Like,
are you sure?
We're cool, right?
Are
Like,
you sure?
look
Sure.
great.
Yeah.
I have a great cross promotion. Next time you dress up like Hamburglar, promote that we're on Rumble. Just keep that in your pocket.
How long were you sitting on that one?
About 5 seconds.
We are in Rumble. You can find us at Annie Frey Show on Rumble.
Yep,
right
just
now.
like Hamburglar told you.
Do you know Hamburglar is a hard word to say?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's
Say
very
it
hard.
4 times fast.
Hamburglar. Yeah, that's
Wow.
right. I did it.
Was that 3 or 4?
I haven't even said it once today because it's hard. That's why I went with Beetlejuice.
Ooh, I like this
And
comment.
now it's time to play. Is Annie okay with this?
Brad says no.
Hang on a second.
What's the comment?
Joe says, Yesterday, Hamburglar, to today, Glamburglar.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe.
I just went and said hi to Brian on Rumble. We don't always look over there, but hi, Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Brian actually reminded me that we were on Rumble.
Rumble.
Thank you, Rumble.
Rumble.
Can we get Big Voice Guy to make a promo like that?
I mean, it'll sound just like he
follow
always
Annie Fry
sounds.
Show on the at Annie Fry Show on Twitter. And then how would you do it for Rumble? What would that sound like?
Rumble.
Just like that?
Yeah.
Is that like pizza?
No, I think that's what Hamburglar would say. He would say rubble.
In your experience?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the 80s.
In other burger news, Burger King in Thailand has introduced what they're calling a real cheeseburger.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. A sandwich with no meat and 20 slices of cheese.
Who's eating it?
Well, a lot of people apparently, because it went viral. You know how these things do. So they're having trouble keeping them on the shelves. The quote, real cheeseburger is available at a reduced price, thankfully. Here's what was shocking about this. It's $3 for a cheeseburger with no meat in Thailand. It's $10, 10 American dollars, almost $11 for a cheeseburger with meat in Thailand. Anyway, it took off on social media. They can't keep it stocked. Are you okay with a meatless cheeseburger?
Man, these marketing people.
I know.
It's just in Thailand, though. I don't think they're trying to reach us.
How do you run out? Do you run out of cheeseburgers too?
You run out of
cheese. So you just have hamburgers.
It's 20 slices of cheese. It is a disgusting amount. It's a grilled cheese, right? I
was just
there's
gonna
a
say,
It's not
sandwich
even
like
that.
this.
I've seen a picture of it. It looks really good. But when I think about eating it, I'm like, gosh, I don't know. It might be terrible.
All of the things that are said on the internet about this thing right now all go back to what it's going to do when you have to poop.
Yes, they do.
All
Yeah,
of
they
them.
do.
Which is why I've avoided the details.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stop you right up.
If I get you this cheeseburger, if I go to Burger King and find one that will make it. If I go to Thailand.
Yeah, if you end up in Thailand randomly, do not get that burger.
If I could get a Burger King to make that burger, would you eat it?
I'd try it. 20 slices. I mean, it looks like something that I would love, but I just don't know that I would love it.
Do you have an affinity for cheese?
I like cheese, but I don't necessarily.
I still like cheese.
Yeah. Look, you can bring up my past if you need to, but I still like cheese. And I do believe that it would give us
Us? This has nothing
problems
to do.
in the restroom.
Are you talking about you and you?
Us as a species.
Us as a company.
The
Like
Thailand cheeseburger would give us as humans.
You have to contact the office manager for a
Odyssey
plumber.
St. Louis.
Yeah.
Office Emperor here.
Oh man, I think it's disgusting, but I understand why they keep doing this. It's just to get people to talk about it. Here we are. And stupid radio shows.
I don't even think this is
Who's the
McDonald's
sucker?
doing this. This got to be the PR department of Thailand doing that.
No, it'd be Burger King.
Or Burger King, whatever. It definitely wasn't McDonald's, I can tell you that.
McDonald's like, you know, to make Burger King look stupid. Let's do something in Thailand. Just make a story of it. I usually don't care about these things, but this one's just gross.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm not okay with it. Ban it in Thailand.
Yeah. Get Uncle Joe on
What
it.
kind of power do we have here on the Andy Fry Show? That? No?
Joe Biden is banning food in Thailand? Okay.
That's why he's building the railroad.
Not a joke. I heard there's a good cheeseburger. Doesn't even have burgers. Let's get a train. Go to Thailand. Infrastructure.
Nevada license plate that is short for Go Back to California is revoked by the DMV.
What?
The plate, which reads GOBK2CA, short for Go Back to California, was recalled by the State Department of Motor Vehicles in May after it received a complaint. A section of the Nevada Administration Code applied to recall prohibits... all those words together didn't make sense when I said them like that. It prohibits defamatory references to a person or group. In this case, Californians.
Californians.
It's Californist.
Exactly. The vehicle owner is currently appealing the recall. Annie, are you okay with Nevada revoking this license plate?
No. Knock it off.
Go back to California?
Nevada should be supporting this license plate. It's good
base.
for them.
Yeah. But there's no state income tax in Nevada, I don't believe.
I don't know. They're not on the list I usually think
No,
about.
I'm pretty
I know.
sure.
Okay. We'll go with that.
Google it.
Texas, Washington, Tennessee.
No, don't Google the states you know. Google
I'm saying the states I know.
No state income tax. I'm pretty sure I just saw this.
No income tax.
But I don't know why you would, like, how?
Oh, you're right.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't understand why we're so quick to protect people's feelings. Not to mention the fact, go back to California. One of those hippies is going to move over from California. They're going to key your car. No, they're just going to think really bad, hurt thoughts about you.
I don't know. If I'm in Nevada and I'm from California, I see that. And it's like at least one tear, if not two, coming out of both sides of my eyes.
Yeah, but if you're from California, you probably then retreat to your safe space.
Trisha's laughing at your bologna sausage before you. She's like, here we go.
Oh, boy.
I don't know.
I would turn to my wife and I would say, did you see what that said about us, honey?
We better call the Department of Motor Vehicles and turn this in.
Is that what Bullwinkle sounds like?
You call the DMV. That really genuinely hurt my feelings.
Pretty sure that we're in violation of the code.
The 1950s version of the woke 2023. I can't say that word. Wimps. And they still talk like that, though. And sleep in separate beds. I'm not okay with it.
All right. Sleeping
I am okay that they don't charge a state income tax, though. Now you know. Go
Alaska, Florida, Nevada, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Washington, Wyoming. Those are the states we're all moving to.
Circling back, Saki style, to the separate beds. 30% of Americans have sleep divorced their spouses.
Oh, I saw a headline on this.
They just did another study, the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, and found that 30% of participants reported sleeping in separate beds from their partners, with millennials making up 43% of that group.
Okay, ladies. Have you ever nudged your husband to make him stop snoring, and then when they say what, pretended to be asleep?
All the time.
They're snoring, so you're like, hey, but then they're like, what do you need? And you're like, totally asleep here. No?
Yeah,
gentlemen. I mean, I say that like men
Mm-hmm.
aren't sleeping with women who are snoring also. And you shouldn't either if you comment about your wives. I have a friend who.
We are not.
Okay.
You told us we shouldn't, and so we're not.
Just tell me about when you and Brad shared a room at Disney World.
Did I snore?
I can't remember.
I can't either. I was out.
The best sleep of their lives. People are sleeping in separate beds from the people that they love and cherish and they're devoted to.
For the record, we were in separate beds.
Sure you were.
I was on the bathroom floor.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Had one cocktail. Brad, I can't even make it home.
And 6
Put
plates.
me in the bed.
6 plates from the dessert party.
It was unreal.
It was only desserts.
Yeah,
And
it's
6
feeling good. Feeling good. Like I had just eaten a giant 20-slice cheese salad.
To me, like, I don't know that there's anything wrong with that. I would assume that people in that relationship would be making the best decision for themselves. But if there's nothing like, and I can say this as somebody who has a 2-year-old right now who doesn't always sleep through the night, but is getting better at it. You had twins, so that's just like a whole different thing.
It changes everything.
But when you are not sleeping well, or if you are consistently being awake because of something that is outside of your control, you will act out in ways in those moments because you're tired or because you've just been awakened in the middle of the night or whatever, and it's just it could cause some problems that don't need to be there.
Our decision to sleep separately is more economic. We have.
Do you make her pay rent?
7. No, gosh, that's cruel. We have 7 bedrooms in our mansion, and so if you sleep together, you're like just wasting money.
We could live with just 4.
Yeah, we could. I mean, we've talked about downsizing, but we just like opulence, so we tend to sleep separately. I sleep in what we call the champagne room.
Why? Color or drink?
Drink. Drink. No, it's just white. And then she sleeps in our guitar room.
Why has it got to be white?
Signed by famous musicians.
Like?
Richie Sambora. Chris Novoselic.
Are these real people?
Of course they are. It's in our guitar room. I just don't.
I know, but the whole story's crap, so I don't know.
I don't walk around gazing at the signatures all the time.
I didn't know you were going with that.
Jeff Lynne. Those are the three, really. We have 3 guitars. It's not the biggest room, but she does sleep in there.
Oh, man.
So anyway.
I don't even know what the question is.
The question was, are you okay with this? The sleep divorce. Now I want to know when we're going to get out of this. I need an edit here.
Hopefully about 3 minutes ago. I got nothing. We'll be back.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Thomas Helbig, Bob Kershaw, Tammy Kershaw, the Retirement Advisory Group help guide you through that shift in mentality and savings when it comes to your retirement. When you get to your late 50s, your early 60s, you have to have a different approach to how you are going to prepare for your retirement so you can live on your retirement and in your retirement the way that you have always dreamt of doing so. Let the Retirement Advisor Group build your own personalized, structured income plan. When you sit down with them, after you call 314-993-9494, you can talk to them about where you are, and they'll talk to you about where they can help you be. When you shift from saving to creating a scenario where you can preserve those assets, you're going to feel much more comfortable about that future of your retirement, the expectations that you have for it, and making sure that you don't have to worry about what's going to happen in the economy, the ups and the downs, or the elections, and all the stuff that does affect the here and now. You're planning for the long term, and you're going to have that worry-free retirement ahead of you. 314-993-9494. You can find them online at retirementkey.com.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure, it's just not fun, always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call 314-332-2885. 314-332-2885. That's 314-332-2885.
If you need a new bath or shower, call my friends at Bath Fitter of St. Louis. Mark Cox here. We love our new shower and tub enclosure. It looks fantastic. No demolition, no mess, and a lifetime guarantee. Right now, they're having a sale for 20% off up to $1,000 or zero interest until 2028. That's 5 years. Call 636-338-1648. That's 636-338-1648. Bath Fitter of St. Louis.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they were very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
The Annie Frey Show YouTube live chat poll is asking, which amendment do you feel is facing the greatest threat? The First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, or another one? Leave a comment and let us know what you think on the Annie Frey Show YouTube poll. The time is 2:48. This update is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Andrew Bailey, the Missouri Attorney General.
COVID was the excuse, but it has spread and it's gotten bigger, and clearly the federal government is dedicated to doing it in the future. They think if they don't like it, they get to stop you from saying it or hearing about it.
On 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Frey Show.
The Declaration of Independence. Think I could tell you that first sentence, but then I'm lost. I can't begin to count the
We were talking
theories.
about in Annie, Are You Okay with Trisha before, about marriages where people decide that they are going to just sleep in different bedrooms. And Mike commented on the YouTube channel, I snored so loud in the past, my wife said the dog would growl and bark at it.
I think you should sleep in separate bedrooms.
Have you ever, do you guys snore?
I used to. Real bad.
But you don't anymore?
No. Whenever I lost the weight, it went away.
I still do lightly. I have the sleep apnea, the mouth guard, the sleep apnea mouth guard. Got rid of it mostly.
Hannah thinks you'd be a snorer. Did she just profile you?
Well, she's right. I was, but I don't really anymore.
Yeah. Mouth guards make a big difference.
They do. They work.
Before we get to the YouTube live chat poll, which amendment do you feel is facing the greatest threat? The first, the second, the fourth, or a different one? You can vote or comment at Annie Frey on YouTube. I have a little situation I might want to pose to you guys. You could tell me what you would do in this scenario. What's the right thing to do?
Well, I'm the great arbiter of these things.
I know. I can't wait to hear your feelings. I took this picture earlier in the bathroom, in the women's bathroom here. I'm just going to, I'll show it on the screen here.
Oh, I know that spot.
That's the women's restroom.
Whoops.
What is that item?
This is on top of the toilet paper holder in the restroom. And I didn't know they made these, but this is like a portable poopery thing. You know what poopery is?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's sitting in the bathroom when I came in earlier today, and it was just sitting there, and that was new. It hadn't been there before. Now, normally, if somebody would leave their like key card to get in the building, or their keys, or their phone, or something there, you would make an effort to reconnect the person with their left behind item from the bathroom. What is the standard protocol when it's poopery? Is this yours, Hannah?
No, it's not.
Ryan?
I was trying to send you both a message.
He said, hey, I know that spot.
With the poop?
Yeah.
That's a weird
You
way
both
to
think
send
your
a
blank
message.
don't stink? Well, you're wrong.
Whoa. I think you should just leave it there if they're maybe bold isn't the right word. If they're quote bold enough to bring it in there, they'll remember it. Or maybe they just left it there purposely. Maybe they're trying to send other people a message.
It occurred to me that maybe someone was like, I'm just going to put this here because
Maybe they left it though.
send an email and an all mail list email.
No, I don't think so.
Your
I think,
poopery is in
the
the-
nicest thing you could do is take it around from person to person and say,
Is this yours?
did you leave this in here?
Well,
You got to say it really loud.
Starting it with you.
I wasn't in the women's bathroom.
Did you leave your poopery in the women's bathroom?
I did not.
Have
So-
you ever used poopery?
Oh, yeah. I mean, come on. Yeah, but is it the spray or the drops?
I didn't touch it.
Because they basically do the same thing, but they are
I
a
didn't
little
know they
different.
had drops.
Yeah, they have drops too.
Original citrus.
Oh, citrus, huh? I'll tell you this. Now, not to get too graphic, but with the drop. Now, I think the spray does the same thing. I'm not sure. But the drops, you drop one or two on there, and they create sort of a film on top of the water. And then your stool breaks the film and shoots up a nice spritz of nice smell in
It's a
the air.
bidet?
in a way. Yeah. It's the force of the stool dropping into the film.
Ever say that again.
That shoots the spray, in this case, citrus, up into the air, and you go.
I never thought we'd be talking about this on air. It's
not even what I asked.
Ever
All
thought
I
we
wanted
would
to
talk
know
about
is
this.
what do I do with it? Do I try to be a good coworker and find the owner, or do I try to be a coworker and pretend it never happened? Because that's what I did.
I already told you. You go to each individual. You start with the highest ups at the company and you work your way down. Say, is this yours? I found it.
Can I send you on that mission?
No, this is you. I'm not a girl.
Oh, well, I will also add to the story that was when I showed up to work and went in there right before we interviewed Eric Schmitt, because we recorded that interview that we played at 125. And I hustled in there. It was in there. I was like, gosh, I don't really know what to do. Didn't have the luxury of time. And I can't imagine actually asking anybody that question.
Not.
But when I went back in there right now in a hurry, it was gone.
Oh, I told you they'd come back.
So it wasn't left as a community suggestion.
I think it probably was D to the C.
He's going to come in here and beat
You're making
you
the
up.
wrong guy mad, and I can't wait to see it. Someone please film. All right, let's do the YouTube live chat poll.
Today's YouTube live chat poll is asking, which amendment do you feel is facing the greatest threat? First, second, fourth, or another one? I'll read some comments. Amy says that she voted the First Amendment because we are fighting a hard, long, uphill battle to get it back. So many forces are silencing people. That is why she voted the First Amendment. Sheepdog said that he voted the Second Amendment because if they disarm us, all the others are indefensible. Joe says that the First Amendment is facing the greatest threat. The attacks on the Second Amendment are obvious. We easily see the lines, but our First Amendment is dissolving in the hands of incompetent leaders. A little confused on what way you voted, buddy. Bob says that he voted the Fourth Amendment. They're all being attacked, but I think the Fourth is the one most currently being violated.
I feel in this segment like I'm the one who's being most violated.
No, you're wrong. It's the Fourth Amendment.
SD from YouTube commented, if we lose the First Amendment, we cannot talk or defend others. We will be controlled and lose all others. We won't be able to speak for our rights at all. So SD voted for the First Amendment. FR said, I voted second, but reconsidered to first. The second is an amendment of last resort. We appreciate you.
Nobody mentioned
Final
the 21st Amendment.
Hey, we're running out of time.
Which amendment do you feel is facing the greatest threat? First, second, fourth, or another? 55% of the people said the First Amendment is facing the greatest threat. 32 say the second, 7 fourth, 6% say another one.
Hans von Spakovsky was on with us at 12:25. He's a constitutional expert and a lawyer with the Heritage Foundation. And when I asked him that question, he really honestly said he didn't think he could pick one. So if you want to hear that, rewind on the Odyssey app, follow 97.1 FM Talk there and everywhere. And stick around here because the Mark Reardon Show is up next.
Pick up soul, pour another glass of that rock and roll. Turn up the band, find the hole, gonna lose control tonight. What do you want from me? I'm not a man.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Marvin Mitchell and the team at Compass Retirement Solutions calls this